see the final score, we track the revenue stream. Welcome to the show that treats the sports world like the multi-billion-dollar business it is. We dissect the ownership deals, the television right battles, the NIL impact, and the media figures driving the entire narrative. From Wall Street to the locker room, we follow the money and the people who control the message. Welcome to Press Row, the business of sports, right here on the Empty the Bench Network. Now, here's your hosts, Callan and McClurg and Nick Morgasen.
You need to shut the fuck up. You need to shut the fuck up. Who are you people?
All right. Hello again, my friends. Good morning or good afternoon. It is another amazing Wednesday here. It's my favorite day of the week on ETB because that means Press Row is on the air for a full 3 hours. The band is back together after a week away last week. Back alongside Nick Morgasen and Callan and Nick, back with you folks here on another action-packed Grand Circle tour of all things sports business and sports media. Nick, despite the fact that journalistic integrity is like now out the window, I'm in a very good mood today, though. Good to see you.
You know what? I was in a good mood until some people don't understand journalistic integrity. I'm fighting with people all over social media. By the way, hello, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. Make sure you follow us across social media platforms at Press Row ETB across all social media platforms as people continue to make their way in to watch our show. Thank you to the 270 people that watched last night as we put in a bonus hour for the show, and we're going to get into obviously what everyone wants to hear about, which is the Dianna Russini situation. But that's not the only thing we're going to be doing on this show, because we have 3 hours.
Wait, there's more.
We're going to get into Cathy Engelbert again. But guys, the lockout situation stuff is over. It's not over. We got more stuff to talk about. So we're going to do a lot as I continue to try to share stuff out here on social media because I didn't get to do it in the 5 minutes. But make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. Subscribe, help us. We're close to 1,100 subscribers. So please go hit the subscribe button and help us out. We're going to tease some news shows coming up towards the end of the show as well. Yes, we have some news stuff, believe it or not. So make sure you check that out. But boy, do we have a big show. We are going to spend hour one talking about the Dianna Russini situation. And then after that, we're going to get into Cathy Engelbert clapping back at the media because apparently being sexist is okay in her mind. So we'll get into that. We're also going to talk about the World Cup and New Jersey Transit in my neck of the woods. Charging $100 to go from New Jersey Transit to Penn Station to the World Cup. Also, in your neck of the woods, the Padres making a lot of money off their City Connects jerseys. Even though you and I discussed that there was some little bits of controversy over the years with some of the Connect jerseys. Also, Broncos ownership changes with the Rockies. Also, some more WNBA stuff, some Barstool stuff. And yeah, so let's get started because we're going to be spending a long hour discussing the Dianna Russini situation. Hi, Christy. And I have a lot of audio to play because I am not effing around during this hour.
And more importantly, as you folks make your way in, you can also take part in the question of the day. So sound off, though. In wake of Dianna Russini's resignation, can the insider reporting model survive in your mind in an era where the social lines between reporters and sources are now being more and more blurred in wake of course, what has gone on? So again, give us your thoughts on our question of the day. With that, Nick, in mind, we talked about it last night. We will now go into a full another hour fledge here involving the ongoing issues here plaguing The Athletic with, again, Nick, breaking news that broke last night. Dianna Russini officially submitted a letter of resignation to The Athletic on Tuesday afternoon, effective right away, following a high-pressure week where photos surfaced to both Russini and Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel at the Eminente Luxury Resort in Sedona, Arizona, during the course of a NFL event for the owners meeting. Now, while both parties initially denied any impropriety, claiming they were part of a larger group of friends, internal scrutiny at the Athletic intensified after staff members questioned if the reporter source boundary had been crossed. In a resignation letter, though, to Executive Director Steven Ginsburg, Russini states that she has covered the NFL with professionalism and dedication, but is stepping away to avoid further damage to the publication and even her own image. So, Nick, the $1 million question for hour one: by resigning before the internal investigation is actually finalized, has Russini maybe saved her brand for a future landing spot, or does the exit confirm that the insider model, where reporters and sources become social peers, is officially broken underneath new modern-day journalistic standards?
I don't even know if that's exactly the proper question to ask in this scenario, because people are automatically assuming, this is what's annoying me already. People are assuming because she resigned that she's admitting guilt.
Which is not the case.
Which is not the case. If people say, oh, well, she was always going to say she didn't do it. But how about she didn't want to deal with the situation at the Athletic anymore? And in her words, she didn't want to bring any more oxygen to the story anymore.
Or as we kind of, Nick, said in a roundabout tiptoe way on Tuesday evening, what about the simple fact, though, about caring about her family and kids? Like we kind of said, though, last night in a roundabout way, we're forgetting that those are also, background players in this whole thing, though, too. Does Russini step away to, whatever it might be with that? But I again, Nick, like I said, though, we're doing too much of this right now and reaching for thin air or reaching for straws or needles in haystacks right now with this whole story, as I had said pretty point blank throughout the course of our program on Tuesday night.
And that's the problem, because I'm getting into fights with people on social media because people are saying, well, you're naive. What do you mean they didn't go to a hotel to have sex? How do you know? You don't know.
Yeah, there's no cameras in the rooms. There's only cameras in the hallways. Now, that went to a point that we did, though, say, Nick, on Tuesday. If there is ever evidence that comes out, say there is a security camera on floor 11, for example, going to room 2695 that shows Vrabel and Russini going in or exiting a room, then yes, we will then go back and say, Dianna Russini, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, that doesn't even prove anything either, because anyone could walk in and out of a room. But unless you were a private investigator and you were inside the hotel and you caught them canoodling, as Dave Portnoy said on his video, which we'll hear that a little bit later. But there are so many people, a lot of big names, which we started to discuss last night, that are way, way jumping the gun.
And we heard from a few last night in the form of Zach Gelb, former ISN host at CBS Sports Radio, of course.
We'll play that again. We'll play
Jason
that again.
Whitlock. We'll play that again, though, for you folks later on in this hour here. But I think, though, Nick, it's a thing, though, in a way. You walk away from a thing like this, though, because, as you said, and like Dianna wrote, though, in the letter, you don't want to give more positive or negative light to a story like this, mainly more the negative light with the story, though. And I think, Nick, this happens all the time, though. I think that we kind of said, though, that people resign from jobs every day in some capacity. Hey, here's my 2-week notice because of this. I don't know if you know the full scope of the whole thing, but I walked away after only a week of working at a local news talk radio station in San Diego, by virtue of the fact I did not appreciate for one, I was not going to meet the demand of the quota for, the news watch every day from 4 a.m. to, noon Pacific time. But also when then, though, it becomes more of a thing against your character, your integrity, your style, in a way that was more of my thing. Obviously being a sports guy my whole life and trying to make that transition was a bit rough, though. But that's where I said, Nick, I can't meet the demands of what you want. I don't appreciate being attacked for, my sports voice being on a news station. I don't know how that, plays into a thing. So I literally called up the guy and said, look, I'm sorry, but I'm out of here. I cannot deal with, the demands. I struggle a lot in a way to do voiceover work a little bit, as Nick probably knows, but I had to, a lot of times you have to start and stop, redo, because, you maybe, you catch your lip on something or whatever. And then though, Nick, say, well, I I need to have a news anchor, not some guy who works in sports announcing to be a news anchor. Like, that was the one, though, Nick, that really sent me off the deep end. But in a way, like I said, though, believe me, Nick, I was in tears when I said, Jason, I cannot fulfill the quota here because, I was looking forward to being a part of this and really, trying a new avenue. And and I felt bad because like I felt like I let a lot of people down. And he said, no, it's okay. But still, though, that slight little dig, though, about, you look at somebody's, other career endeavors and say, well, I need this, not this. That's why my own accords, I said, okay, thank you very much. I'm out of here after a week. We'll see you whenever. And that's what I think, though, Nick, is where I would put this story in a way is that when you're kind of caught up, though, I'd say in a negative light like this, you leave as soon as this happens. Now, is that the easy way out in people's minds? Is it this? Is that? No, because, Nick, I guarantee you right now, there is somebody at some other big corporation or some other, industry job site right now who was literally slammed on the desk of their boss, 2-week notice, I'm out of here, see you later.
And that's what I don't get. Like, and all the idiots who are making the assumption that she quit and that's an admission of guilt. Shame on everybody in this industry of the media who are assuming that's an admission of guilt. Have you ever heard of that when you leave a place that's not an admission of being fired or whatever, or being guilty of a crime? Come on, we're in a media industry. This is pathetic that we're assuming she's guilty when we have no proof.
And I think, Nick, that sadly goes to where society has gone, especially nowadays in 2026, and people can say I'm right or wrong. But I do feel like, though, Nick, in the wake, probably, I'd say, of the last 6 to 8, maybe decade, for years, we now have totally, Nick, thrown out whatever that piece of paper written 250 years ago reads, that it is innocent till proven guilty. And now we have, in a way, moved those words around. Now, you, Nick Morgasen, you're guilty as charged until you're proven innocent.
Oh, I know that's a joke that people make also. Instead of innocent till proven guilty,
it's the other way around now.
Now it's guilty till proven innocent, which is the most ridiculous thing. I worked in news talk radio, okay, for 4 years. I was a producer and a board op for a nationally syndicated program too. And I think I said this last night, but the biggest advice I was given from the host who has worked in the business a long time, he told me, don't bring me a story unless you have 3 legitimate sources proving the story is real. And I've stood by that ever since. If you notice in our Slack channel here, when someone brings a story, what do I say? Always when a story comes through.
Source? Question mark.
Tell me the source. Because there's too many parody accounts now out there. And then you have like the Dove Kleemans of the world.
I was going to say, or people who buy the verified check marks just to make themselves look good.
So, and that's why, unfortunately, Twitter is like hit or miss in today's day and age. Now you could buy verification. I mean, heck, we're verified just so we can post the longer videos, for crying out loud. That we're not using it for clout.
Yeah.
But it's just frustrating from the standpoint of people are assuming Dianna Russini is guilty before an investigation or anything was done to prove that she's guilty or innocent or nothing at this point. You have to hold judgment. I'm going to continue to say it, that you have to hold judgment until something comes out. You just can't do it.
So again, let me, Nick, in a way, backpedal to last night, where, again, I literally pulled one of my Gull's credentials off the wall, off my corkboard last night. And again, this still applies now. But again, Nick, at the very bottom of this pass from the 2017-2018 season, it clearly reads in part, no autographs, no personal photos. Now again, I know I brought this up last night, though, Nick, but let's also remind people in a way, though, that let's recount that in a way, this was an event that was held by the NFL involving their 32 owners, I believe, and
the NFL owners meetings.
Yeah, NFL owners meeting in Arizona, all-inclusive, adults-only resort. That is part of the story, though, believe it or not. And, okay, who out there hired Magnum PI or Tom Selleck to go out there and spy on these people, as you kind of said, though, in a way?
That's my point. Unless, and all the Twitter anonymous morons who think that they understand media better than you and I or other people who've worked in the industry. Oh, well, she had sex. It's assumed that because she's a woman, she's sleeping to get her sources. By the way, I'm getting so tired of hearing that, by the way, that like some people are coming out and say, oh, well, because she effed up, now it ruins it for all women.
That was the Nancy Armour story we talked about on USA Today, where, again, Maggie Gray came to Diana's defense. Michelle Beadle did. Elle Duncan did. I believe, Nick, I believe now we even have audio now from Jamel Hill that also came out today on the Levitard show as well this morning.
We have a ton of audio, and I have to, and by the way, 200 people watching. Hello to everyone who's in with us today.
Thank you all for being here. We appreciate you.
If you have any questions, comments about the story, feel free. If they're smart, stupid, whatever, we'll address it all. It's okay. We get it. I'm trying to think where we want to start. Do we want to go back to some of the context from yesterday, or do we want to start fresh and kind of work our way back?
You're the guy in charge. You're executive producer, so whatever you like to do, sir.
So I want to go back to the Gelb sound originally to start, because and I want you to tell everybody who's watching today that I almost blew a gasket yesterday over someone who I like, by the way, in the industry, completely, what would you say, dropped the ball slightly?
Oh, big time fumble. Big time fumble.
Now, let me be very clear. He did say one or two things that I thought
he
right.
said a few things that were right, but a lot of the time, though, it was missing the point by leaps and bounds of the imagination.
So here's Zach Gelb from yesterday, and we'll stop slightly in between because it's a 2-minute plus video.
Vrabel have both said from the jump, nothing was happening between the two of them. So if you did nothing wrong, Dianna Russini, why are you resigning? That's just a question I have. She probably has already an idea of what she's going to do next, whether it's independent or an agreement with another company that maybe reached out and said, hey, if the Athletic gets rid of you, we'll bring you on in.
Okay. That's the one I agree with.
That was the part I also was going to say that I agree with, because that's like the only thing that's one of the few things I think he got right, though, in that whole entire fray.
But there's two things that I've never understood from the start with this story. And first off, if it's true that Mike Vrabel and Dianna Russini were cheating on their significant others, I feel for the significant others. But from a media coverage standpoint, the two things that I just never got, and is why so many media members said Dianna Russini deserves the benefit of the doubt. Why does she deserve the benefit of the doubt?
Hold on. And this is what I got mad about last night. Okay? Who said that she got the benefit of the doubt? Okay? Who said it? Because nobody said that she got the benefit of the doubt. There's nothing on social media to back up this situation that says she was given the benefit of the doubt. If there's evidence, and Zach, if you're listening on our show that's live right now, provide me the evidence that was said, or anywhere on social media, that it was said that she was given the benefit of the doubt.
It doesn't exist. Is no.
Because what did I say to you before the show in the think tank? If it was out there, those people would have gotten clowned on social media.
1,000%.
As we continue.
Because any normal person, whether it's true or not, looks at those photos of Mike Vrabel and Dianna Russini interlocking hands, and that would suggest that there's a romantic relationship.
Hold on. This is the problem I have. And a lot of people are assuming this by looking at the pictures. Oh, well, they're holding hands, so it's an assumption that it's a romantic relationship. In what way?
Yeah, it's a assumption, for the love of all things that are good in the world for today. I mean, literally, again, is that a photo of them like, hey, great to see you again, coach, how you doing today?
And let me be clear, because I'm sure Zach and others are going to say that I'm overreacting to this situation. I'm not saying it doesn't look suspicious. I've said that many times, that it looks suspicious, the way it looks. but you can't assume it's a romantic relationship.
Yeah, what other evidence do you have? Okay, maybe there was a photo of them giving each other a hug. That still doesn't tell me anything. I'm sorry. It does not that does not tell me anything either.
Zach, were you Magnum PI? Were you somehow in the hotel in Arizona I didn't know about?
Yes.
Between the two. Who do you ever interlock hands like that you're not at least trying to have a romantic relationship with someone? So any meeting member that's like, she deserves the benefit of the doubt with the insinuation that's being made about her, well, how do you explain the photo?
It's
What?
a handshake, you moron.
It's a picture. A picture doesn't explain the full context. It doesn't.
Literally, too, when the camera angle looks like it's taken from a balcony like a block away from the damn hotel.
And by the way, that means someone was creeping on them taking pictures somewhere.
That's an invasion of privacy.
So now they're public figures, so there is different rules for public figures. But at the same time, maybe you just caught them at a moment where they were holding hands. You don't know. And that's the problem I'm having here. That you can't assume a romantic relationship at all unless you spoke to the two of them, which you did not. And by the way, at the end of this video, you hear that he's a Patriot fan.
Which makes it in a way makes an ass of himself.
Right.
And that's a question that I would love to hear Mike Vrabel and Dianna Russini answer. If you say there's nothing to see here, then how do you explain the photo of the two of you interlocking hands? So
stop. Why do you keep saying that? The photo means nothing.
It's literally a photograph. Nickelback wants their song back, Zach, too, by the way. So give it back to him.
Like, enough. Zach, you've been in the business for a very long time. You should know better not to assume based off information unless you have actual sources telling you it's true or it's confirmed. I'm sorry. This is negligence, ignorance, stupidity all in one.
I guess this story is over from now. It will pop back up again in two instances, wherever Dianna Russini lands after this and whenever the Patriots, and I'm a Mike Vrabel guy, right? Being a Patriot fan, love Mike Vrabel when he played, and now being the head football coach of my football team. But whenever the Patriots bring Mike Vrabel out of the witness protection program to have him speak to the media once again. So how about that? The interlocking of hands. How do you explain it? I wonder if Dan Le Batard's going to be comfortable, by the way, talking about this.
That one right there, which we talked about last night.
Yeah, that's BS, dude.
I get it. And I explained this last night, and I'll explain it a little bit further now that we have the time to talk about it. Hey, Zach, did you realize that Dianna Russini and Dan Le Batard and the show are friends, you moron? Would you throw your own friend under the bus?
I was going to say, like, what good friend would throw their friend underneath the bus for clout?
And you said it jokingly last night, but I kind of believe it, too. He probably would throw his own friend under the bus.
I mean, with this pompous-ass attitude he has, my God, it wouldn't surprise me.
But come on, Zach, you've been in this business enough to know not to assume looking at a picture.
Or Nick, even better, is that a clickbait video because, oh, I'm jealous because she still has a job and I don't right now in the industry?
Well, he's doing that show for that small platform or whatever he's doing. But regardless.
But still, Dianna Russini, national level senior NFL insider of The Athletic. Zach Gelb, formerly of CBS Sports Radio, losing his job after the merger with Cumulus Media.
Now, let's be fair. That wasn't his fault by any means. But
I'm not saying it's fault, though, but just that viewpoint, though, having to stoop to that level to rat out somebody in that capacity and then take the stupid shot at the Le Batard show?
Zach, I want to know, would you throw your own friend? If it was a friend of yours in the industry, would you throw them under the bus if they were caught in a cheating scandal, allegedly?
Oh, I'm sure he would, because he's a damn idiot.
And you know what? I think he was one of the best hosts on Infinity Sports Network, too.
I thought so, too.
And that's what frustrates me more in this scenario. Zach is usually one of the guys when I used to listen on the network that did his due diligences to make sure things were correct and facts were correct. Now, all of a sudden, because you take shots at Levitard because he wouldn't put him on the air. Now, Nick D said this on Lounge last week, which is true, that Levitard will go after other people. That's not.
But won't do this kind of due diligence, though, if it happens to on his watch, in a way.
But again, it's a 6-1 half dozen the other scenario where
Yes.
I could do it and because it's news, but then do I have my friend afterwards if I throw her under the bus?
And I would probably say, Nick, the answer is probably a big fat no.
And again, I think you and I are pretty much trying to say we're holding the judgment. Because I'll tell you right now, and I don't want to speak for you, but my point is we'll go in on her one way or the other, depending
Absolutely.
if it's innocent or guilty. And I will tell you right now, if she is innocent and proven innocent, I'm going to demand that she takes defamation on every media platform that has thrown her under the bus and almost destroyed her career.
And 1,000%. I mean, we're talking about, it's her career is one thing, but then, the collateral damage effect, as I kind of said, though, about, the other background characters, which is her husband and her children, that, again, no one factors into these damn equations because they always say is Dianna Russini shooting her arrows at her. There we go.
Right. It's just one of those things that frustrates me completely in this scenario because it's just like, come on, man. Like, there are platforms that are saying stupid and ridiculous things. And I want to get to Dan Dockage, by the way, because, and just, you're going to see a pattern here of idiots, and they're the ones that are saying it. We read a comment last night from Bobby Burek from Outkick, who basically said, well, she didn't produce the picture from her girls' trip. It wasn't a girls' trip.
Yeah, again, as I said, there is no girls' trip. It's a NFL owners meeting involving the 32 owners, other members of the front office, and then all the national media. There's no one else there.
She was there for the NFL owners meetings, for crying out loud, and everyone's turning it into, oh, well, she obviously slept with Mike Vrabel just to get information. Like, in what world is that proven? It's not proven. That's why. It's not proven. There's no proof of it. And I'm going to share a video from Dan Dockage's show, which, by the way, has basically become an irrelevant person because he's been, I don't know if you know his story. He's been thrown off of stations before.
Don't know the guy, sadly.
Because he's a little too political at times. He's one of those types. But here's Dan Dockage on his show, Don't At Me is the name of the show on Outkick. That should tell you right away, Callan, what type of show and person he is. But take a listen because this is a little appalling, at least the way from a journalistic perspective.
Over a career spanning more than 15 years of sports journalism at NBC, ESPN, and Atlanta, I built a body of work I am proud of. Good for you. I've broken stories, earned the trust of course you have, because, right? And you're lying here, too. Your record is being disrespectful to your marriage, not only with Vrabel, well before that, making fun of your husband, trying to be one of the guys, but you're such a dork, you really don't know how to do it. You do it in a crude, hurtful way to the person that actually had the stomach to marry your fake tittied ass.
Jesus. Really?
Damn.
But you saw what he did at the beginning of the video, right?
Yeah.
He did the motion saying, oh, that's how she got the. How do you know that, Dan? How do you know?
Which in a way, Nick, I think went to the awful announcing story in a way we talked about last night, involving how the awful announcing writer, I forget who wrote it though, but they made a great point though, Nick. This sadly, in a way, is kind of still the ugly mindset of a lot of people in 2026 whenever they see female sports anchors or female reporters covering sports, is stuff like this malarkey on screen.
Yeah, but how does Dan know? Because based on that motion, which we're not stupid, we know what he was showing. He's saying basically, oh, she was having sex to get sources and scoops. How do you know, Dan? How do you know?
Exactly.
And
nobody knows.
And then to call her the derogatory names on top of
I guess, I mean, sadly, it's par for the course for that outlet, so it should not surprise anybody, but still.
No, I get that. But
it's appalling.
But to call her and say based off her features of her body, like, is that really where this society has come? Now, let me be clear. I worked in radio, like I said, for 4 years. I don't love FCC regulations, okay? But there still is some resemblance of respect that has to go on.
There should be some kind of, respect or line in the sand, as I usually say.
But to go after her for her features, like, come on. Man.
Body shaming.
That's exactly where we're at. Somebody that was willing to look past your ridiculous personality and marry you. And you treated that person with disdain, disrespect. Here's the thing about people that cheat. I've always said this. Why are you worried?
Hold on. Did you hear what he just said?
Yeah. Why, again, are we jumping to this damn conclusion about her cheating on her husband? He wasn't even in the picture, you morons.
And but you heard what he said. Here's what we say about people who cheat. How do you know, Dan? How do you know there's infidelity?
Yeah, maybe you say that shit, but the people on this show don't say this shit when it comes to people's personal lives.
It's morons like this who make all of us in the media look like assholes because they don't want to do the damn work. And think about his show, Don't At Me. Why do you think it's called Don't At Me?
Exactly. Well, don't at me then, Mr. whatever the hell your name is. I don't even know who the fuck you were until today.
Dan Dockage. He was big in Indianapolis, and then I think he worked at ESPN for a while, but his politicking got him fired a few times, believe it or not. But at Outkick.
Maybe his sinking ship should go back to the dry dock.
It should.
About getting caught. You obviously don't respect that person enough that you're going to go give up your body to another person, whether you're a man or a woman. So why even worry about getting caught?
Is this a joke?
It is a joke.
So you're assuming she's cheating. You're assuming that she's having infidelities behind the scene. Again, Dan Dockage, are you a PI? Are you a private investigator? Do you know for a fact that this stuff happened? The answer is no.
The answer is no, exactly.
There is no way, and I'm tired of people in my mentions who are saying, you're being naive, they obviously had sex. You don't know!
Exactly, people. Again, were any of you morons out there that are, again, keyboard warriors actually at that damn hotel in Sedona, Arizona to be able to actually find out the damn truth? I don't think so. Get out of the damn basement and go touch some fucking grass.
And that's what's pissing me off because people are misinterpreting the responses that I'm making, saying, I'm not saying whether she's innocent or guilty. I'm saying we need to wait. That's it. If she's proven guilty, you and I will go in full force and say that she was guilty and that there's a problem.
Yes.
But it's innocent until proven guilty, people. Understand how the legal system works. Because most people don't. It's just irritating, okay? It's irritating, and the way this story is being handled, like, help me here, because I'm frustrated.
I mean, anybody in this media space, whether you agree with what has happened, whether you are jumping to conclusions, we all, in a way, though, should be, in a way, really, I think, looking at ourselves in the mirror about our own personal conduct when it comes to this sort of thing. Now, that's, I think, Nick, is something I had to learn kind of quickly in my sports career when I got into the American Hockey League 10 years ago, because I was kind of used to being able to, to talk to the players, talk to the coaches, and PR had to come and say, hey, fine line, just so you know, can't be around the guys, can't be doing stuff, with them. Again, hey, the no autograph policy, the no photo policy and stuff like that. And that's, things you learn, though, at least in my space, it's what I had to kind of learn, though. But I think, though, Nick, that this situation really, I think, should be a eye-opening moment for those in the industry, those trying to get into the industry. You got to look yourself in the mirror, though, when it comes to stuff in this capacity. If you really want my thoughts.
And you know what's really annoying me too? So like all the clips are resurfacing from all the shows she's been on, and Dan Dockage obviously doesn't know how to take a joke or anything whatsoever. Do you really think that she's trying to insult her husband on all these shows she's going on?
No.
It's a playful joke, people. Like as you said, go touch grass outside because you obviously don't get away from your computer. And it's just, come on.
It's common sense, people. Like, learn to laugh at yourself and laugh at people sometimes.
And just like things like Clay Travis had said, which pissed me off too, saying that it's this isn't complicated or a double standard. Clay, it's a double standard. It's a double standard.
She resigns from her job while Mike Vrabel gets to coach an NFL franchise next season.
You said it right, and I believed it. NFL coaches get away with more shit than journalists do.
Yes.
Because journalists is all about integrity. Okay? In the NFL, for a coach, it's about wins and losses. And that's it. It's about nothing else for them. Look at Bill Belichick, for crying out loud, when he was with the Patriots. Look at all the cheating scandals that took place.
And I was going to say, and then look at now at UNC.
He's not winning. So now all the scandals are coming to the spotlight. When you win, the scandals don't come to the spotlight.
Yeah. What and Sally, that old saying in sports is winning cures everything, sadly.
It's true.
But it's damn true, though, sadly.
People need to do better when it comes to journalism. People need to do better when it comes to sourcing, because they just want the clicks. They want the clicks, and that's it. And it's just funny how someone like Dave Portnoy, okay, who put out a video, and basically he thinks that they're canoodling. Hey, Dave, that's kind of rich considering you were dealing with a Business Insider situation.
And not like your platform, Mr. Portnoy, doesn't have a story in our rundown about one of your guys going through illegal bookies.
So I just find it funny.
Look yourself in the mirror, fool.
That's why I find it funny that he's reacting to this story when he had I'm not going to call it a cheating scandal because he's not married, but
something similar along the lines, though.
But he had like a alleged sexual abuse situation. I think it ended up going away. He sued. He ended up not winning because he's a public figure, so they couldn't get it out of the Business Insider stuff. But it's kind of rich considering that he's saying, oh, well, she resigned and it doesn't look good. And you know what? Why don't we look at the video, shall we? Because I think this blew my mind in every way, shape, or form. I have the video.
Go for it.
Right here. Here's Dave Portnoy reacting to the situation.
All right. T by the C, shifting gears from Alex versus Alex to the NFL. So back to the supposed canoodling with my head coach that I die for, Mike Vrabel, and Dianna
Patriot
Russini,
fan.
Dianna Russini, friends of a lot of people at Barstool. By all accounts, everyone loves her. Just resigned from the Athletic. Lengthy statement over the alleged canoodling, basically saying originally the Athletic had her back, and now they've launched this investigation. The media is running wild. They're digging into her life. She stands by all of her reporting, and rather than continue to give this story oxygen, she is just going to resign. Her contract was up in June. As I've said from the beginning, to me, this is a private family matter, but listen, when you're a public figure, it's kind of hard to be like, shit, we want to handle this privately. But
gee, doesn't that sound ironic considering the situation he dealt with?
Exactly.
Just saying.
They both have families. Now, the alleged canoodling, the original statement we all remember is both Dianna and Vrabel like, we were with groups, each of us had groups. None of the photos show any of our friends who was with us. There's long range photos. There's close range. They're in the hot tub. They're doing the lambada. It looks like a private investigator took the pictures. There's no other people in the pictures, and no other people have come forward. This seems like from Dianna Russini, the classic, "You can't fire me, I quit." And it feels like a person who is guilty of canoodling.
Excuse me?
How so?
How is resigning from a job an admission of guilt? I'm going to say this a million times. It doesn't look good. I'll say that. It doesn't look good, but it's not an admission of guilt.
Yeah, it's not.
That's what I don't understand.
When they shouldn't have been canoodling. Now, again, a private member, I don't necessarily think anybody should lose their job over this, but to me, the best way to prove you weren't canoodling is not to be like, let's cut this investigation off, which again, this should be the easiest thing to prove that Dianna and Vrabel were telling the truth. Like, oh, here are the other people. Here they are. Here's the travel receipts. Here's the pictures. Here's the texts. Case closed. We've had none of it. These would be very lousy friends if you were with them and you haven't come forward. So
this I agree with.
This, I was just going to say, like, we talked a bit last night about how is the rest of the friend group not coming forward and talking to the press.
This is the one part where he got it right.
My guess is they were definitely canoodling. The intertwined fingers, the lovey-dovey, the lambada, the romantic retreat, the fancy romantic hotel. It seems like they're canoodling. And her resigning.
Okay, hang on. Again, why does the damn hotel matter, Portnoy? This was an NFL executive owners meeting. They're going to go to a 5-star hotel, damn it.
And someone was arguing with me saying they went 3 hours away to this hotel, away from the actual Arizona hotel. Is that proven? I have no idea.
I've not heard any of that ever coming to the limelight.
By the way, thank you, 300 people watching in here. But we'll finish this, and then I will finish off with Ginsburg, which I want to get to today.
Cut the investigation off when, if you weren't canoodling, you assume it would prove your innocence. Makes me think you were canoodling. Again, canoodle all you want, but it is sad there's other people involved. And I don't think you should be fired for your job. Like, she's not, again, this isn't the war in Iran. She's covering the NFL. And if they're canoodling, I'm sure there's all sorts of canoodling going on between reporters, coaches, players, athletes. Canoodle. But this makes me feel she's guilty.
You heard that last part as it got cut off. Assuming he assumes she's guilty. That's what's frustrating me in this scenario.
The only thing he got right on that whole thing, and before he said the guilty part, was that why is this the only example that we're using about maybe stuff like this happening? Where, again, we talked about the fact about Adam Schefter getting into a issue with Bruce Allen when it came to letting him doctor up the story he was writing for ESPN.com years ago.
And no one's talking about that at all. Oh, we'll give Bruce Allen editorial control so his name doesn't get dragged in the mud. Why didn't ESPN do anything about that?
So bad.
You know why? Because he's the forgotten son at ESPN as the top NFL insider.
He's the prodigy.
So they're not going to do anything to him. He gets all the clicks for all the insider information that they get for the NFL. And he's on all their NFL programming.
Terrible.
Now, I do want to get to the Page 6 story that we discussed, and I'm trying to see if I can find the link. But talking about Ginsburg and his comments was just, it was nuts. It was crazy. And we have the full resignation letter if we want to read it. I don't know if anyone cares.
Yeah,
about
let's
that.
let's also, Nick, move to the part 2 though of this whole thing though, with what happened as well involving the ongoing Dianna Russini resignation on Tuesday. But the Athletic is also reportedly, though, Nick, facing an internal crisis now as staffers criticize leadership for their initial instinctive defense of Russini, the company has officially confirmed that the Scoop City podcast, hosted by both Dianna and former NFL quarterback Chase Daniel, was already in transition, which is corporate speak for it was likely being canceled. But this was back, though, in March before this even happened, though, earlier this month, though. Reports now also suggest, though, Nick, that management officially and originally took Russini at her word that the photos were a hit job. But as more details emerged, though, regarding the timeline of the Sedona trip, the outlet's stance then began to shift. The editorial guidelines of The Athletic state that journalists must avoid even the appearance of a conflict of interest. So with that, Nick, how does The Athletic, though, recover their reputation as a prestige outlet when its own editorial staff is publicly questioning why a star insider was given a longer leash than a beat reporter would have gotten for this sort of ordeal?
Well, I think Steve Ginsburg overreacted, or not overreacted, reacted too quickly.
Yes,
when it came
as
to,
we said, and as people will hear on episode 313 of ETB Sports later today.
Yeah, I've said it for over a week now. I've said that he was too quick to defend her because she's the top NFL insider. She's the big name. People forget, like, she's done a lot of good work for the finding NFL insider stories. But Steve Ginsburg, who's the head editor, was her boss at The Athletic, was too quick to defend. And in PR 101, which we talked about last night, I would have said, no comment right now currently. We're going to go do an internal investigation, and when we have more information, we will release it to the public when we have more information.
Yes.
Dead stop. Right there. But for some reason, he wanted to defend it right away, and that led to the issues in the newsroom of The Athletic, the New York Times, which led to a lot of people being upset. A lot.
Yeah.
So I have some of the comments from Steve Ginsburg. So it says, I'm writing to let you know that Dianna Russini has submitted her resignation for The Athletic, effective immediately. While I can't share the details of our investigation of Dianna's conduct, I want to emphasize that the leadership at the Athletic has taken this matter seriously from the moment that we learned about it. Ginsburg went on to write that the Athletic's coverage is, quote, deeply rooted in integrity and our commitment to earning the trust of our audience. He also noted that the outlet's newsroom has thrived because of its core journalistic values, and the Athletic will always ensure they are protected. He continued, when this situation was brought to our attention last week, there were clear concerns, but we received a detailed explanation, and it was our instinct to support and defend a colleague while we continued to review the matter. That was your mistake. Right
Yes.
there.
Which went to the point, I think, Nick, that I kind of said, though, is that you and I even think Zan Bando, again, one of our esteemed journalistic writers of the network, along with Tom Albano, me partially with my Substack, though, on Substack, that we would all agree, though, that the PR here from The Athletic, though, was a botched operation. Where mishandled, botched operation, call it for what it is. That I think that's where you have to say at this time we have no comment until we conduct the investigation, which I think, though, in a way, Nick, I wonder how much, though, that Russini resigning before the investigation was ever completed, though, maybe through those plans, maybe for a bit of a small loop in some capacity.
But some of the comments we've heard already, was that the you're not firing me, I'm leaving scenario? Right. I don't know. I'm not willing to comment on that section because, again, who knows why she resigned? We don't know. Okay? Yeah.
We have some breaking news out of the WNBA from Shams of ESPN.
Yeah.
Asia Wilson back to Las Vegas, 3 years, $5 million Supermax contract.
Wow. I mean, that's not...
It just broke within the last 15 minutes.
Not surprising. We'll get to the WNBA because we have other money we're going to get to in hour two. But Ginsburg went on to say, additional information emerged. New questions were raised that became part of our investigation. If you handled it right the first time and you didn't make any comments, you wouldn't have to backtrack.
Nick, wasn't it an episode of The Office where they had like a company chili party at the office in Scranton, and whoever it was came walking in and dropped the giant pot of chili on the floor?
Yes.
That's kind of what this whole situation reminds me of, or in our plain terms. Oh no, we threw out his name.
The
About
executive-
how, but though, to tie it in though, this is in a roundabout way, Nick, how this whole thing I feel has been handled regarding just you jump to the, even the Athletic, you also jump to conclusions right away saying, hey, we're defending Dianna Russini, arm the shields boys, basically in a way, to now all of a sudden, oh, we may have misstepped our boundary here when it comes to defending one of our own, no. And now, of course, though, Nick, now you have the whole newsroom in a way, shots fired, or, everything's on fire, basically, in a roundabout way now with how this thing's been handled.
I mean, it goes on. It's the executive editor acknowledged that Russini chose to resign as the Athletics probe into her conduct was ongoing, and that the outlet will continue a standards review of Dianna's work. That the Athletic editorial director for standards and editorial quality, Mike Vrabel, is leading. Ginsburg concluded in his statement, amid of all this, I want to sincerely thank everyone for continuing to produce the best sport. Who gives a shit about the content of the Athletic?
Why do you end a PR announcement like that about your coverage? I don't think anybody right now gives a flying you-know-what about your coverage. You've got an internal crisis going on. One of the best NFL insiders out there, male or female, don't give me that nonsense either, people, resigns because of, the public outcry that is nowhere near being confirmed or denied at this rate. Happened at this time.
I mean, we might as well look at the letter, because this is the letter that was sent, the direct resignation letter.
Yes.
To Stephen Ginsburg. Please accept this letter as my resignation from the Athletic. Effective immediately, I have come to the decision with deep sadness, but with clarity about what is right for me, my family, and the work I have spent my career building. You and I have already publicly addressed the recent attacks against me, and I have nothing to add publicly to what we have said. I've covered the NFL with professionalism and dedication throughout my career, and I stand behind every story I've ever published. When the page 6 item first appeared, the Athletic supported me unequivocally, expressed confidence in my work, and pride in my journalism. For that, I'm grateful. In the days that followed, unfortunately, commentators in various media have engaged in self-feeding speculation. She's right. That is simply unmoored from the facts. Moreover, this media frenzy is hurtling forward without regard for the review process the Athletic is trying to complete. It continues to escalate, fueled by repeated leaks, and I have no interest in submitting to a public inquiry that has already caused far more damage than I'm willing to accept. Rather than allowing this to continue, I've decided to step aside now before my current contract expires on June 30th. I do so not because I accept the narrative that has been constructed around this episode, but because I refuse to lend it further oxygen or to let it define me or my career. Okay, she's not admitting guilt, people.
Yeah, she's not. Not once has she admitted anything to this whole fray.
I just want that clear so people understand, because people are assuming that, oh, it's a mission of guilt, a mission of guilt.
Yeah, so what happens if you resign from your job? Are you admitting guilt that that's the same? If we're going to play public judge, jury, executioner here, for heaven's sakes, okay, so what if the average Joe Schmo leaves their job? Are they admitting guilt for some reason? Give me a break.
And stop making her look like shit. Like, she's got 2 kids. She's married. You're making this worse by
She's
turning
a human fucking being, people. Just like the rest of all of you Neanderthals out there in the Twitter space, for God's sakes.
I wish people would do their due diligence, or as they say in the media business, do your homework when it comes to sourcing, because nobody knows the full scenario, and no one is ever going to know 100% of what happened. Okay? And I'm agitated because people are just flatly going on Twitter and say, oh, well, she had sex with Mike Vrabel. And by the way, we haven't heard from a certain somebody in this whole scenario, have we?
Oh no, how can we forget?
You mean Mike Vrabel?
Yes.
We haven't heard a damn word from Mike Vrabel on this at all.
Yeah, so I think that's a bigger problem, too, than just Dianna Russini resigning. Where the hell's the head football coach of the Patriots to also say his side of the story?
I mean, I know Zach Gelb was saying it as a joke, but it feels like he kind of is in witness protection, kind of, right?
I think he's right. Thinking about that, you know what? I think he might be right, though. Are the Patriots coddling him because of what's gone on with Dianna Russini?
So no one was willing to protect Dianna Russini at
But
all.
they'll do every damn thing, though, to protect that damn football coach, my friend.
And screw you, Patriot fans. And not Ben. Let me be very clear about that. Ben Cruz, our host across our network, who does a really good job with shows. But screw you to the media members who are Patriot fans who are letting Mike Vrabel off the hook. Okay?
I mean, how is he not accountable in this thing? I don't, you know what? Yeah. Don't give me that sorry ass answer. Well, he's a coach. It's about wins and losses. We were in the Super Bowl. That doesn't mean anything when that literally has cost somebody else their career and livelihood just because of whatever you might think is the case.
And the thing is, so the Athletic had put her on leave originally. Why didn't the Patriots put Mike Vrabel on leave?
NFL draft is in 9 days.
Who cares?
Goes to our point, though.
And don't get me wrong, we have coverage ready to go for the NFL draft. I'm not saying from that standpoint, but I'm saying if Dianna Russini has to sit on the sidelines and it leads to her resigning because people are barraging her, what's that other dumb saying? It takes two to tango.
Takes two to tango.
So they both have to be guilty if it's found that she was or there was infidelity committed.
Yes.
It takes two to tango if there's a cheating situation going on. So where's Roger Goodell? Where's the NFL? Where's Robert Kraft? Why are they not suspending Mike Vrabel right now? Or not suspending, but temporary leave, which in the NFL means nothing.
No, because it's in the NFL's track record, sadly.
I mean, what are they known for? Cheating, domestic violence,
and taking teams out of their markets for bigger stadiums.
So I'm waiting. This is on you, the NFL. Now, Roger Goodell, the Athletic removed Dianna Russini from coverage.
Your move, no fun league.
Because Mike Vrabel should not be allowed to be working right now until this situation is resolved 100%. Now, I want to know what would happen if it's proven that it's guilty and it actually happened. He should lose his job.
Yeah, right? But it's going to be one of these, though. Come on. Even I can tell you that. I haven't watched the damn NFL game in 9 years, buddy.
I understand. But if she's going to lose her job, he needs to lose his job.
But again, though, Nick, what did we say earlier? It's not going to matter because it's all about wins and losses and getting back to the Super Bowl.
And let me be clear before people start hitting us in our comments and say, you're being naive on how the NFL works. Trust me. Ask Callan. I know way more about the NFL than I need to know. Okay? And we all know the NFL will put a slap on the wrist because they don't want to disrupt Drake May, who went to the Super Bowl this past year. I got it. I understand.
Coddle the Patriots.
I get it. And by the way, the Patriots, this is not naive for the Patriots, who've had plenty of scandals. And I mean, how many have they had? Deflategate,
Spygate, Deflategate, moving
Tom
on
Brady,
to Seattle, moving
Tom
on
Brady,
to Seattle,
Tom Brady's cell phone, which he tried to destroy because it had evidence in it. I mean,
and now Photogate.
I mean, maybe we need to look at the track record of Robert Kraft and the way he runs the organization.
Not like Robert Kraft hasn't had his issues either with the damn
the spa. Freaking tug at the spa. But I don't get it, man. I don't. And until we know the actual story and the actual facts, everyone has to take a chill pill and wait. Okay, that's true. Well, they're friends. Come on now. You know Roger.
Now,
Goodell
how's
and
that
Randy.
not a conflict of interest? So, of them being friends, but no, Dianna and Mike Vrabel can't be friends. And hey, Coach, how you doing today? Good to see you.
Well, all the owners are technically friendly with the commissioner of the sport, but
Unless you're the next commissioner we're going to talk about after we get to the ETB network update here in about 30 seconds.
But to sum this up, okay, no one should be putting out whether she's innocent or guilty. I don't want to see it. I just don't, because there's no proof. There's no proof. There's no way to prove it. There's no video. There's no audio, which, by the way, that might be a real invasion of privacy if someone got that.
Oh, absolutely.
But that, and people, but a picture tells 1,000 words. Not in this scenario.
Not in this case.
It doesn't. It doesn't tell you anything. You're going to have to hear it from the two horses' mouths before we make a judgment. And I'm putting my hand up now, okay? If she's guilty, we will come back on here. And she's going to get crucified if she's guilty. I'm going to say that now.
One way or another, it's going to happen.
And we'll question her journalism ethics if she's proven guilty, right? I mean,
Yes.
If she's not guilty, and by the way, our show is going to be protected from all this nonsense because we weren't willing to jump the gun on it. I hope she sues every organization, every big time, like Page 6, who bought the pictures, by the way. And by the way, the one last thing I'll say, TMZ was not willing to take the pictures because it was 2-bedroom policy.
Who would have thunked that for TMZ, by the way?
I mean, I give TMZ credit because they've worked really hard on not being like the Hollywood BS anymore. But just keep that in mind, that TMZ was not willing to take it. Page 6 did, which is the New York Post. Also.
Oh, boy.
All right, let's take a deep breath here.
Yeah, a long way to go. And we'll now, though, Nick, get to the ETB Network Weekly Update. Away from Dianna Russini and Mike Vrabel for at least once this whole week, though. But, Nick, a lot going on, though, over the course of this week, though, with programming. And as you said, though, towards the end, though, we'll be kind of teasing a couple of new things coming here.
Yeah, so double barrel action today. ETB Sports.
Bring in the righty.
Yeah, double barrel action. I'm a righty, but an ambidextrous lefty. Anyway. ETB Sports, episode 313, Zambeto and myself. Later today, 6 p.m. Eastern, we dive deep into the Dianna Russini, Mike Vrabel situation. If we can pull this up here, I can tell you. Also, the Reuben Bain Jr. incident kind of resurfaced.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
NBA playoffs preview, which if we have time at the end, we'll kind of talk about the technical difficulties that happened during the Prime Video playoff game, the first one. UFC 327, Carlos Ulberg won his main event title on a ruptured ACL.
Torn freaking ACL.
Also, the president got Derek Lewis on the White House card. And the NFL Network being added to ESPN Unlimited. So that's ETB Sports coming up at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, about 3 hours from now. And then we had Moving the Goalposts, which comes out at 8 p.m. Eastern Time later tonight. NBA playoff picture. The Kings are being investigated for tanking somehow. Bucks part ways with Doc Rivers. Dianna Russini put on leave, which the joke yesterday from Johnny Montalbano in our chat was there goes half the show because their show got to it before. Don't worry, people. We put disclaimers in the description, so just hold your horses.
No, you're wrong.
Also, on our show and MTGP, we did talk about Rory McIlroy being a repeat winner at the Masters, which if it wasn't for all these stories, we might have gotten to it from a business perspective on this show. We just don't have the
mainly
time.
because CBS botched the final putt to win the tournament.
Excuse me. That was bad. But yeah, those are those two shows. What else do we have coming up? No MMA Outsiders this week. Jack's moving to Atlanta.
The ATL.
And then we're working our
Stay
way
away from
toward
Magic City, my friend.
Oh God. Go get the chicken wings. Go ask Lemon Pepper Lou how that worked out.
Lou Williams.
But we are working our way towards NFL draft coverage as well. That'll be next Thursday. So please check that out. We're going to be live an extra hour early. So from 7 p.m. until the end of the first round. So we're probably going to be putting in 4 or 5 hours of live stream on night one of the NFL draft. What else? ETB Lounge in its permanent spot coming this weekend. Sunday, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern. That guy over there on the screen and Nick DiMartino, dual leaders of the bar, along with some newbies joining the bar this week. Connor Rowland, our newest person for the network, is going to be a permanent third chair going forward. And who else do we have?
We have David Waitman from Hitting from the Cycle also joining us. One of Philadelphia's best when it comes to sports stats, when it comes to his work.
Yeah, so 2 newbies on for ETB Lounge and efforting one more, hopefully, to make 5 people. Also, Nate Miller will be on Hitting for the Cycle. He's also one of our new guys. He will be on tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Time with the 3 guys for Hitting for the Cycle, so don't miss that. What else? Did I miss anything else?
I think that's it.
Just make sure you follow us on social media at ETB Network and youtube.com/ETB Network. Subscribe, help us. We're getting closer and closer to our 4,000 watch hour goal. So please help us as we continue to grow the operation. So
yes, we will have a couple of teasers for you later on in the episode. And also, Christy also mentions BTR previewing WrestleMania.
Yeah, Saturday is a full day. And then, like I said, Sunday with Lounge, also Zanziger Part 2. And Gurus is now going to be on Friday for the rest of the summer, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll go back to Sunday once the football season gets underway.
Yeah,
all right.
And also, just for those wondering too, we will, I think, have to tweak the Lounge a little bit though for SNF. I want to say though too, once Sunday football does roll around this season.
We'll figure out something. I really don't want to move it too much, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. All right, hour number 2, heading into press row hour number 2, and if it looks like a name we haven't let go of, Cathy Engelbert. Cathy Engelbert claps back at the media. I'm going to see if I can find that video. But during the WNBA draft, Commissioner Cathy Engelbert had a sharp exchange with New York Post reporter Madeline Kenny when Kenny asked about the commissioner's future as her contract approaches in the 2026 expiration. Engelbert retorted, "I wonder whether you would ask that of a man, by the way." What? Engelbert argued that female leaders are subjected to a different line of questioning than their male counterparts. However, media critics like Nicole Auerbach pointed out that the male commissioners like Roger Goodell and Gary Bettman are asked about their job security and tenure annually. Was this a valid defense of a double standard in sports media? Or was it a defensive move to avoid answering for polarizing labor negotiations as she nears the end of her contract? What an idiot.
Valid defense by Cathy Engelbert? What the hell is this crap?
Cathy Engelbert and defense don't belong in the same...
No, that'd be like asking LeBron to play defense at age 41 for the Lakers.
Yeah. That's funny.
No, it's not no valid defense of a double standard in sports. It's a defensive move, though, by a commissioner, Nick, who has been thrown under the bus by you and me, and who knows how many other WNBA, analysts or people in general for how this whole CBA ordeal had been botched from the word go. And as you folks can go back and rewatch our interview with Jordan Robinson from a couple of weeks ago, where, again, Jordan said, hey, these players opted out a full 17 months before the lockout ever happened. And then the back and forth and stuff of that caliber. But no, Nick, I mean, if you're the commissioner of a sport, you're not immune, though, to be asked questions like this, though. And you have to just get over yourself and get over it and answer the damn questions, though. But, Nick, let's go ahead and hear from Miss Cathy Engelbert.
With the New York Post. Adam Silver was asked last month about just your future as the commissioner of the WNBA, and he said he didn't know what you wanted to do. So I guess I'm just curious, like, how much do you want to stay the commissioner of the WNBA? How much longer do you anticipate to be in this role?
Well, thank you, Maddie. I do crack up how everybody's focused on me, and you should be focused on the hundreds of amazing women and thousands of women who run this league outside of myself.
Well, let me deflect.
Our women owners, our women board of governors, our
Deflect.
women GMs and women head coaches.
Deflect.
And my whole team of
Deflect.
diverse women and men who are working hard every day to get the 30th season tipped off by May 8th. But I appreciate that you're focused on me as well. I wonder whether you would ask that of a man.
Really?
What?
Cathy.
So that whole thing, though, Morgasen, is deflect. As if she's not deflected enough crap as is for the last 17 to 18 months when it came to the CBA.
Can we call that deflect gate?
Do we need any more gates around the property here, for God's sakes?
I mean, I've never seen someone deflect so much shit in my life.
I mean, not just that. I mean, look at how defensive she got, though, and in this at the same time.
By the way, you saw her face in the reaction when she got asked the question. First of all, that's a legitimate question.
Not just that, though, Nick. It's the nervous laugh, though, for me, too, that just kind of, in a way, like, puts it over the boundary line for a touchdown.
Right, but I don't think that's a bad question. Her contract is up, after this season, and people want to know, is she staying in the role or not?
And I also think, Nick, that we even, in a way, said during our mega stream, though, before, the day of the lockout or strike actually beginning, we had talked about the fact that Adam Silver was even asked, and even Silver was like, I don't know if this is the right person to lead this league forward. But again, though, all it is, though, Nick, is deflect. Look at what we're doing here. Now, again, I get it. It's the draft night. We, in a way, should be focused on AZ Fudd going number 1 overall to Dallas, and Olivia Miles going number 2, and Lauren Betts going to the Mystics at number 4. Still, though, Nick, it's also, in a way, though, for the media to really, I think, pull out their dental tools and pull Engelbert's teeth out when it comes to why did this take so long when it came to the CBA? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? Yeah, we've got these new teams coming in Toronto and Portland. That's all great. But again, the hard-hitting questions, though, Nick, are a part, though, of the commissioner's role. Draft night, before the playoffs begin, before the finals begin, you have to, in a way, Nick, just take those swords in the back from the media because, Nick, they have a job to do, believe it or not. We have a job to do to get the stories out to the general population and public out there.
Right. I mean, I think she doesn't understand.
In a way, though, Nick, what about Christy's thoughts here? But she's, in a way, kind of admitting defeat by just saying she's screwing and that she probably knows it.
Yeah, but it doesn't help that she's making a sexist remark on top of it by saying...
Which I think, Nick, makes it more embarrassing for the commissioner's office of this league, which I think, Nick, they have tried so hard to get rid of all these stereotype comments out there when it comes to get back in the kitchen. I'd rather have $5. Your league doesn't mean shit to us out there. But yet, though, when you keep taking out the pistol and shooting yourself in the foot with crap like this, that's why people laugh at you in this league, sadly.
I'm wondering if after the fact, when the press conference was over, like the PR...
Somebody better pulled her aside and said, what the hell was that?
Like, what? I'm wondering if WNBA or even NBA PR, you don't know if NBA PR is involved in this either. But let's just say
You would think, though, right? Because the fact that the NBA subsidizes the W, as people always love to trash us in the comments about.
Yeah, I mean, they might have separate PRs, but the NBA is involved. Let's not kid ourselves here. But you don't think someone from WNBA PR said, what the fuck was that?
Which I think it could have gone as well. Which I think, though, Nick, this spat, though, I think also in a way reminds me a bit, though, when I think we had covered the fallout of Nafisa Collier's scorched earth after the playoffs ended. And I think it was before game one of the finals that we sat through on playback.
Yes.
The commissioner's press conference before the finals began.
It was like a 20 to 25 minute press conference, at least.
Yeah, it was fairly, I mean, would you kind of say that long of a press conference is kind of short in a way?
Well, she was up there for a while. They had to move it along because they were.
But more importantly, though, Nick, it's reading from the damn PR binder about, hey, say this, 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 say this.
That's the problem with any sport. That's not just a her problem. But I don't know. Let's listen to the rest of this, and then we'll reflect on it.
By the way, but I realize as women, we get asked different questions than men do. But look, I'm so proud of this league, and I'm here, working really hard to make the 30th season our best ever, and to continue to build that sustainable economic model we know we need for the future. So nothing else to report, which is probably why Adam didn't report anything. There's no story here. I'm thrilled with our trajectory.
So time out, 30-second timeout. I've got 5 left here to call those. So in a way, you're basically saying that this is fake news. To put it in layman's terms for the average Joe Schmo in the basement right now ordering takeout at 12:15 in the afternoon on a Wednesday afternoon in Southern California, you're basically saying you're fake news, shut up, move on.
Also, to make the slight shot at Adam Silver.
Why would you do that to your upper boss or your superior? Are you trying to get fired?
Maybe she realizes that maybe what Christy said is right. Maybe that
she's done for.
Maybe you know how they say when you lie, you think you have to lie to make stuff go away, but that actually digs the whole
Pinocchio.
This is Pinocchio syndrome, where you just keep lying, but then you're so deep in the shit that you lie to stop other lies, but that's actually making it worse in this scenario.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop your fucking lying.
I mean, it's true. I mean, I don't know. We don't need to listen to this anymore. But she did not help herself there.
No,
and
she has not done herself any favors whatsoever. And I know a lot of WNBA fans would say the same thing.
And Madeline was trying to follow up. You noticed that the commissioner cut her off, right? When you heard part of that. I mean, come on, man. This is ridiculous. We might have some breaking news we might have to get to in a minute, too. But I Cathy's not doing herself any favors.
None whatsoever.
In this scenario, it's not helping. It's she might be shit out of luck, to be honest.
And frankly, I think, Nick, every WNBA fan, whenever that news comes out, would probably run around the block shirtless if that happens.
Yeah, but who's going to be the commissioner, though? That's
Mark Tatum. He's always been next in line for the last 30 years.
No, that's NBA.
But Mark Tatum is also the number 2 guy though for the W. Whenever, as I told you on, literally a year ago yesterday, my 1 year on ETV, when we watched the draft after round 1, Mark Tatum announced every draft pick in rounds 2 and 3.
Well, that's because the commissioner, I think, only did day 1 or whatever. But I don't know, man.
Do we have any breaking news before we get to our next story here?
We do.
What do we got?
Breaking news and it came from 2 places: Trey Wingo and the Golf Channel. And this is a report. I want to make sure I get all this information correct. So, breaking from this is from a Financial Times report that was done on Golf Channel. The Public Interest Fund is on the verge of ending its funding of Live Golf. It looks like Live Golf is coming to an end. And we do have a story to read here, so we can kind of see how much of this we can get through. All right. Live Golf's future is in doubt after a Financial Times report today that the Saudi Public Interest Fund is, quote, on the verge of cutting financial support for the league. With rumors swirling about the circuit's future, the Financial Times reported that an announcement of Liv's future could come as early as Thursday. I think this is a day before an event is supposed to start.
So what I just gathered from FOS is that on Tuesday night, golf reporter Ryan French, who runs the popular Monday Q Info social media account, posted that he had heard from multiple sources that a bombshell announcement on Liv's future is imminent. We don't give out gambling advice, but if you're a prediction market type person, I would bet the under of whatever they had posted. They are scheduled, Nick, to play this weekend in Mexico City.
I think they're supposed to start a tournament tomorrow.
I believe that is correct.
Liv is currently preparing to host its 6th of 14 events this week in Mexico City. The league's Pro-Am was underway on Wednesday, today.
Oh, my goodness.
The Telegraph reported that Liv executives met for an emergency session earlier in New York City, in my neck of the woods here. Golf Channel's Rex Hoggard reported that a meeting of the Liv team general manager was expected at 4 p.m. Eastern time, which is today in about 40 minutes, in Mexico City. This is big news. Big news.
If they collapse, we'll be on later this evening for a full-fledged recap of what has gone on.
You might get double the bonus coverage, people. You're welcome, America.
So we'll keep an eye on that story, though, again, with Live Golf possibly on the verge of going underneath. With that, Nick, we'll go ahead.
It looks like it's pretty much done. It's just a matter of when they announce it. But we said this for a long time, didn't we?
Because we were of the belief, though, how much longer is that Saudi Arabian cash cow going to keep funding this golf tournament or these golf tournaments?
You mean the endless money pit?
Yeah.
It's like Mr. Krabs syndrome. Like we're money. Oh, hello, I'm Mr. Krabs and I like money.
Exactly.
It's literally what it was.
All right, Nick, to all things with the FIFA Men's World Cup in your neck of the woods, though, but the NJ Transit Authority is now reportedly planning to charge over $100 for return trips between New York's Penn Station and MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey during the upcoming Men's World Cup. For context, the 18-mile journey normally would cost somebody $12.90. State officials have argued that the surge is necessary to cover the $48 million in extra service costs for the tournament without burdening local taxpayers. But the plan has drawn fire from New York Governor Cathy, who called the increase of over 700% crazy for a public transit utility. Nick, if the World Cup is marketed by being the people's game, does a $100 train ticket turn into a exclusive event for the wealthy? And will this drive even more fans into a already congested Uber and Lyft marketplace come the World Cup this summer, especially, Nick, for the final?
So from what I understand, and I'm trying to look this up just to confirm it, they have to close down the stations for this World Cup event. Now, I want to make sure I get this right. So the return trip from New York City to the World Cup final stadium could cost $100 during the tournament. NJ Transit says no decision has been finalized. I don't know if that's right. But The Athletic reported that NJ Transit's plans for the ticket increase on Tuesday, citing sources familiar with the public transportation provider. NJ Transit told Fox 5 New York that the price has not been finalized. A decision is expected in the coming days. NJ Transit lists the price for a round-trip ticket from New York's Penn Station to MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford for $12.90.
That's still fairly cheap considering it's going, 20 miles to New Jersey?
Right. But it says the new pricing will reportedly put the return ticket at more than $100 with no reduced price options.
That's awful.
$100
just to get back from the stadium.
I don't know how that makes any sense.
It doesn't, Nick. And I'll put it in perspective as one of the very few who, away with, along with Trevor, I go to soccer matches all the time in San Diego for either SDFC or the Wave or what have you. Away from buying beer, Nick, I think I probably spend $30 to $40 on a given game night away from buying alcohol. It's probably like a $20 Uber from my house, which is about 10 minutes away from the stadium. And then I wait for the steam to fully clear out about an hour or so. And then I'll go and take the trolley, our version of rail service. You know how much, how much it costs me to go from the stadium back to my station at the bottom of the hill from my house?
No.
$2.50.
That's not bad.
So imagine that going up in 2028, though, to like $150 to go from Snapdragon Stadium to my station below the hill from my house. So when the Olympic Games come here in 2 years.
No, I'm not saying it's logical. Let me be very clear.
None of this is logical, and I understand though. Well, hey, the whole world's coming. It's the World Cup. It's this. It's that. Believe me, I get that. By the way, for those that are wondering, I will actually be able to buy Olympic game or Olympic event tickets this weekend. I got one of the lucky people picked to buy World Cup. Not World Cup tickets, but Olympic event tickets for 2028, though, and I'm going to, kind of in a way document it for a story that we're working on about ticketing and where it's gone, though. But Nick, this is flat out ridiculous, man. I mean, now we're really beginning to price the average Joe like you and me out of going to sporting events even more and more now. I mean, we thought the NFL was bad. This is a million times worse. And I love soccer, but I get it, though. It's the World Cup, but still, this is not right.
The Athletics report came a day after Mikey Sherrill, the governor of New Jersey, who took office earlier this year, spoke at a news conference about her desire to reduce the taxpayer burden for the World Cup. See, they were trying. They were trying to have it subsidized.
And by the way, Nick, look at how long, though, it took like New Jersey, California, even Boston to get the federal funding from the White House to be able to even stage these events, though. It was like, what, $50 million you were saying, I think, in the original story?
Yeah, so NJ Transit, the overall cost to deploy its services for the 8 World Cup matches at MetLife, which include the July 19th final, which is also at MetLife, $48 million. And that's why they're charging the prices the way they are. Because God forbid our government subsidized anything. No, we'll just throw it on the taxpayers. We'll just make them pay more.
I'm curious, but go on. I'm looking up something, but go on.
In February, Sherrill announced the cancellation of the planned $5 million fan festival at Liberty State Park in Jersey City. The funds will instead be used to stage smaller watch parties and events through the state. See, they
Nick,
can't even. Go ahead.
I'm glad you brought that up, Nick, because at one point SDFC had put out a giant press release. Join us at Belmont Park to watch every World Cup match for free. Now, since all these things have come out, though, Nick, that release has been blown to dust.
Well, and also Penn Station, which I used to take
I've been
to work.
to Penn Station. I've been to Grand Central.
Which I took for 4 years to go to work every single day. I used to be in and out of it every single day. They're talking about closing parts of it.
And you know what? You can't do that. I'm sorry. You cannot do that if people are trying to get to New Jersey to watch the games at MetLife Stadium.
Well, forget that for a second. Put that to the side. What about people who have to work?
Or even that during the course of the summer, yes.
So what are you just going to say? Oh, screw you. I guess you can't make any money to make a living.
Yes.
Is that what they're going to do?
Yes. Precisely.
That's why it doesn't make any sense. I mean, first of all, the $100 price tag is just ridiculous. And also, how are you going to keep track of who's going to a game and who's not going to a game? It's not fair for someone who has to pay $100 if they're just going to work or going to somewhere that's not the World Cup.
Exactly.
By the way, from $12.90 to $100, that's a 700% surge in price.
That's flat out bogus.
A spokesperson for NJ Transit did not deny the report, instead suggested the final prices have yet to be determined. Yeah, okay.
I'll believe that when I actually see it.
One of the key things that they wanted to make sure of was that we're not going to be paying for moving the World Cup. People who are viewing the World Cup on the backs of New Jersey taxpayers and New Jersey commuters. Yeah, okay. The taxpayers are going to get fucked one way or the
Yes,
other.
they are.
The World Cup should be affordable and accessible as possible. It's not. Can we
It's
stop
not.
lying? Like, charging over $100 for a short train ride sounds awfully high. This is from the governor, New Jersey. I think it's a little crazy. Some soccer fans were asked, I get the whole tax situation, but it's not it at all. It ain't it. A source familiar with the 2026 FIFA World Cup transit plans previously told CBS New York that Penn Station will partially close for 4 hours before each match kicks off. 4 hours.
Goodness, that right there is nightmare fuel. Now, Nick, I was doing a little bit of some digging. So, SoFi Stadium in Inglewood is hosting World Cup matches in SoCal.
Yes.
Team USA's first matches against the Aussies at SoFi Stadium on June 12th.
Yes.
I went to the Amtrak website and looked at how much it would cost me to go from San Diego to the to LA Union Station, round trip. The game kicks off at 6 o'clock local time, and then I'd be out of there when the match is over. It would cost me $70 to go from here to LA and back, $35 both ways, compared to this crap happening in New Jersey.
It's still ridiculous, though. It's expensive. I mean, the other thing, too, it says the only trains that'll be running are between Penn Station and Secaucus Junction will be running at the time.
So that means you'd have to probably Uber from Secaucus, New Jersey to the stadium.
Well, no, you'll get other transportation once you get closer to the stadium. But they're saying at Penn Station, for the time being, when the tournament happens, the only trains that'll be running are from Penn Station to Secaucus Junction. That's it.
Yikes.
Which means you're completely fucked if you have to work. How are you getting to work?
Yeah.
How are you getting to school? How are you getting to anything?
Yeah, how are you doing anything to live your life because of the World Cup being in New York, New Jersey?
And I said,
let alone, though, any other market, though, in the U.S. I mean, Toronto, Vancouver, and, wherever else in Canada, that's whatever. Then you got, the stadiums down in Mexico, but still.
I was in Canada. I went last year because I went to see the Yankees play in Toronto.
Yeah.
Their transportation is actually pretty good. I bet
it is, yeah.
We didn't really use it because we were pretty close to the stadium.
Yeah.
But I saw it. It's pretty clean down in Canada. $100 though. Jesus. Like, most people can't afford $100.
No.
So, and by the way, I read a report that FIFA's going to make $11 billion. You're telling me that FIFA can't subsidize the travel? Are you kidding me?
It's pathetic.
Because all they're thinking about is...
Yep.
It's crazy. Crazy.
Brutal. I mean, it's brutal that we're literally going to charge a 700% increase for a return trip back to Penn Station because of the World Cup.
We'll see what happens.
And that basically, Nick, everyone's daily life comes to a screeching halt for 3 to 4 weeks come June and July.
It's going to feel like COVID all over again, if you think about it slightly. I mean, think about what's about to happen for the NFL draft in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Do you know they told schools for 2 or 3 days
on press row? Yeah,
that you're going to have to be remote because we're afraid of all the
traffic,
and the amount of people from outside that come to the draft. I mean, at least they were respectful about it. At least.
And gave them plenty of notice. I mean, but then again, we've had, and I hate to kind of say this, though, but you've had enough notice, though, about the World Cup. But now it's like all these late loopholes being added. Well, hey, trains will only run this way. It's only for this amount of time, the kickoff, stuff like that.
You're forgetting one other thing, too, which is what makes this $100 price even more ridiculous. No parking at MetLife.
Yeah, which I think is also total BS.
Because they're taking advantage of you now by charging $100 because you can't drive to MetLife and park. That's the real bummer taking advantage of. But speaking of money, the San Diego Padres have shattered their single-day ballpark retail record last Thursday, surpassing $1.1 million in sales. This doubled the previous record of $550,000 set on opening day in 2023. The surge was driven by the launch of the City Connect 2.0 uniforms. These jerseys, do you want to pronounce that for me?
Yeah, I'll take it from here, Nick. The jerseys have been inspired by the Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead weekend, and also the 1998 NL pennant-winning Padre color palette of using bone white, obsidian, or a very dark navy blue, aqua, and fireberry pink. Details also include a La Catrina, which is the sugar skull sleeve patch, a marigold pattern trim representing joy in life, and a bone-colored hat that, again, has nods to the 1998 World Series team. The team store even opened up the team store for operation at 8 a.m. local time, both on Thursday and Friday, to accommodate the massive demand, which, by the way, is a footnote again. The Padres are, again, still for sale with that price tag hovering around $3.5 billion. But, Nick, with sellouts, though, of their first 10 of 11 home games, does the $1.1 million retail explosion prove that hyper-local branding is now a bigger revenue driver for baseball than individual superstar power like Tatis, Jackson Merrill, or Manny Machado, or vice versa?
I would say that San Diego does a much better job of local branding than a lot of other teams. If you look at New York, LA, Philadelphia, Boston, Chicago, they all have built-in markets because they're big markets. San Diego has to work a lot harder to get San Diego out there, to let people know, hey, come check us out. Come check out our team. Come to Petco Park. Try the food. Try the drinks. Try the unique things we have here. Look. The reason they have to do a little more on the branding exercise side, and I did see this. These looked interesting, by the way. It reminds me of that Disney movie. What was the name of that Disney movie?
Encanto or Coco, yes.
Yes, which my niece and nephew, when they were younger, big fans of Encanto. They have to do more on the branding side because they don't have the big built-in New York, LA scene where people, even tourists, show up out of nowhere to go to Yankee Stadium or whatever they're calling Dodger Stadium now, Philo Stadium.
It's Dodger Stadium.
But everyone's going to show up to those two stadiums. It's not as easy for San Diego, which has to do more work.
Right.
Now, they're doing a much better job, and I think eventually when they get new ownership, you're going to have a lot more people that want to come in because they're going to spend the money, and they're actually going to have the money for the first time to actually spend, which is going to be great. If you remember the reports from back when they had to take out the $50 million loan to pay off cover payroll, which again was a little embarrassing the way that whole situation happened. But they're in a much better place now. They have players, they have a brand, Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill, a lot of guys that really can breathe excitement into this franchise. And now people want to buy the jerseys. They want to show the representation of San Diego and the Padres, when unfortunately years ago it was a little bit laughingstock-ish.
Oh,
the
absolutely,
Padres.
1,000%. They've been a laughingstock minus their times making the postseason in franchise history.
So I think now that they have the players, now that they have the ability to do more things, people are buying jerseys. People are buying the City Connect jerseys. I've been on the record many times. I'm not the biggest fan of the City Connect jerseys of anybody. I always thought it was a money dump, the City Connect jerseys.
We talked about that on Sunday in passing on the lounge on Sunday.
And I get why they do them, because Major League Baseball says, oh, it's brand identity. I believe that slightly, because there is brand identity for each team. But I don't like that they do like all the mixing of sports. And like, I think if I'm not mistaken, like the Chicago White Sox did the Chicago Bulls.
They did the Bulls crossover.
Like, I wasn't a big fan. I feel like that was reaching a little too much. The San Diego ones actually don't look bad. Like, they actually did a decent job. And at least they kind of went away from crossing over with other sports.
No, there's not a whole lot to cross over with here, sadly.
No, but right, but I'm just saying, like, they didn't try to purposely mix it together with something else. They tried to just focus on, all right, how do we get the Padres to be represented in a jersey? Now, I'm not a jersey buyer. It's not my big thing, but I actually think they did a good job on these.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of knew about what they were going to do. Like the rumblings early was a navy blue and orange palette to honor the '98 ball club that went to the World Series and obviously lost to Nick and the Yankees in that year in that 4-game sweep. But that those colors away from the brown and gold have always been a big component of the franchise identity. And I think, though, the way, though, Nick, that they rolled it out, though, was so great. They had Dominic Mysterio as part of a teaser back in November, the weekend of Dia de los Muertos, which, by the way, the reason why, though, they also did the Day of the Dead inspired theme was the Padres in the city's close connection with Tijuana in Baja California, Mexico, which, again, has been a very big thing, though, for city history here and whatnot, and the Spanish influence of the city. And it's a very big holiday. Again, it's a 3-day weekend, basically, where you, again, as you probably may have seen with the teaser video that they put out or whatnot, that in this, with that holiday, you leave a altar out, you leave food out, you leave candles burning, you have pictures up of, your lost relatives, though, and it's a way to honor that they're not really gone. It's the whole saying about, Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker saying in Star Wars after Carrie Fisher passed away, no one's truly gone. And literally they opened the team store at 8:00 in the morning local time here, Thursday and Friday, to meet those demands. So then on Friday, they actually wore them. And, every Friday night they do a happy hour every Friday home game when they wear the jerseys. Gallagher Square was packed with people. I was going to go to the game actually on Friday, but the ticket prices had shot through the roof, though, because of them wearing the uniforms. So, but even the day before, though, when Bogarts hit the walk-off grand slam, everybody was wearing, the new hat, the hoodie, the jacket, the jersey, whatnot, and it's been a big explosion. And this might be the only, I think, and I think people probably, Nick, may or may not agree, though. The Padres, though, with what they've done with their branding when it comes to either the City Connector, but I also think, though, Nick, the long-standing military Sunday camouflage has always been one of my favorite jerseys. I remember when that really began, though, in the late 90s, early 2000s. Other teams tried to kind of, in a way, piggyback off it, but never really got it off the ground. I think the Mets tried it, the Pirates tried it, and it just didn't really look right that, hey, San Diego's got like the biggest presence of military operations, in the entire country, but also the Padres went right to the horse's mouth, though, and asked the U.S. military, how do we match our uniforms to your camouflage? And that's why the Padres ditched the navy blue camo for the current, desert camo or whatever it is, though. And that it's the intangible details, though. People may not know it or saw it, though, in those photos we showed you. The Padres, the new hat, by the way, in honor of Day of the Dead, and as you saw, though, with that shoulder patch, though, of how the Sugar Skull has the floral crown, there is a floral crown in the visor that keeps that theme going, too. That was not shown, though, in those photographs, though. And by the way, also, the word mark is the word mark in the number and name plates are the same from the previous uniform set, though. But I watched the game on Friday, though, and it looked really good, though. And I get it, though, that some people might think, why are they wearing black? Like, they're not the Giants. It's a very, very midnight dark blue that they wear, or that they're wearing with these uniform sets. So, and it's like the lighting, in a way, kind of does one thing or not, though. But I love what they did, though, with, in regards to the sleeve patch, though, with the Sugar Skull and the prayer candles that are offered on the altars, though. And I think, though, they did a really good job. And I think Eric Grupner, who was even on the Padre.tv broadcast, even said, we began planning these out like a year after the first ones dropped in 2023, that you already had to kind of get the gears grinding for 3 to 4 years down the road, though. And again, for that happening, though, Nick, $1 million plus of revenue on top of the franchise being sold, though, is, it really, I think, just really tells people that, especially as I always say, Nick, I'm in a unique position here in San Diego where there's no other big 3, big 4 sport. Yes, MLS is not quite there yet, though. but there is no NFL, there is no NBA, there is no NHL, there is MLS, there is the NWSL, there is the AHL, but you don't have that other big name team to back you up in a way. Yes, you have, again, MLS, though, but it's not quite there at this rate. Even then, though, Nick, super, super proud, though, of what the Padres have done, though. And again, that's not even like biased, though. It's telling you, though, that baseball has taken over as being the sport, though, here in San Diego, California, because of the NFL being gone for the last 9 years.
No, they did a good job. They figured it out. Now they just got to play good baseball. Like, believe it or not, I'd love to see the Padres take down the Dodgers at this point. I'd love to see it. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I guess we'll see what kind of happens on that front. Moving on here, some interesting news out of Denver. So Greg and Carrie Penner, owners of the Denver Broncos, have made a significant minority investment in the Colorado Rockies. This marks a rare instance of a local NFL ownership group buying into a neighboring MLB franchise. The Penner-Walton Group brings a massive capital to a Rockies organization that has often been criticized for its lack of spending. Is the beginning of multi-club ownership becoming a standard for U.S. markets, where one ownership group effectively controls the entire sports ecosystem of a city? We've seen this already.
We're kind of, Colorado's kind of close, but the Cronkies don't have any hands in with the Rockies. But they do, though, with the or even with the Broncos. They have the Avalanche, the Nuggets, the Mammoth, which is the lacrosse team, not the NHL team in Salt Lake City, for those wondering, though. But they got the Avalanche, Nuggets, the Mammoth, and then the Rapids are all a part of the Colorado group. And you've got, obviously, Cronky's got the Rams. He's trying to help out with the arena project here in San Diego for Midway Rising. He's got Arsenal. He's got a bunch of esports teams in LA, and obviously SoFi Stadium and whatnot. I don't know, though, Nick, if this is like anything new. Like, the Haslams have ownership of, a soccer team in Nashville, and the Browns and other entities there. And, like Glenn Taylor had the Wolves and Lynx for a long time. The Buss family had their ownership of the Lakers and Kings at one point. Like, it's nothing new, I'd say, Nick, but I'll tell you what, though, the Rockies need some kind of shot in the arm, though, for heaven's sakes. They do.
I mean, look at the Dodgers ownership group. I mean, and I'm trying to look it up because I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Guggenheim. Look at the Guggenheim group. How much different things they own. It's kind of nuts that when you look at them as a ownership group, they just own many different things, many different sports. And apparently the Guggenheim partners have $359 billion in assets. By the way, notably owning Guggenheim Baseball Management, controlling the Dodgers, and also holding stakes in Dick Clark Productions. It's amazing to me, the amount of different things that they own.
It's insane. It's crazy.
And if I'm not mistaken, like Magic Johnson, who's part of Guggenheim Partners, doesn't he also have ownership stakes, in the Commanders?
Commanders, LAFC, the Washington Spirit of the NWSL, Dodgers.
Doesn't he have what are those video game team things called? Doesn't he have one of those?
He might. I think the Cronkies have a couple in LA, though, too. I think they have the LA Gladiators or LA Valiant, I think, who play out of the YouTube Theater in Inglewood at SoFi Stadium.
I'm looking this up just so I can. Okay, so he's part of Guggenheim for the Dodgers. He also has the Commanders, LAFC, the Sparks.
Yes.
The Washington Spirit. And then he does have Team Liquid in esports.
That's what I thought. And Christy also brings up, Nick, how about the Khan family of the Jaguars?
Oh, God. With AEW? Yeah.
AEW, well, that's what AEW, the Jaguars, I think a couple of soccer clubs, I think, that Tony Khan owns.
I'm looking that up really quick just for
context sake.
Okay, so the Jaguars, Fulham FC.
Okay.
And AEW. Wow.
Yeah, Fulham FC of the EPL. Okay, I thought they had some sort of team in EPL. My team got relegated, so it doesn't matter.
Family assets valued over $9 billion, with Shad Khan's net worth to be estimated at $13 to $14 billion.
Oh, and also Ring of Honor Wrestling too. So they have two wrestling entities underneath their belt.
I forgot about that.
And I think the Glazer family, who owns the Buccaneers, still owns Man United, I think, and they've been getting publicly clobbered when the team loses games to sell the club.
So the Glazer family owns the Bucks and holds majority ownership of Manchester United FC.
It's funny. Every year that every time that they lose a game, they're always getting like beaten down with a steel chair.
I'm trying to think who
Sack
else.
the ownership.
Not the ownership.
Well, we call it sacking the manager or sacking the owner or sacking the manager in soccer terms. We don't say fire the coach.
I'm trying to think what else. What other big owners have like 5 or 6 different things? Like Kroenke was the one that really stood out to me.
Kroenke really began to start that narrative. I don't know if anyone else in baseball does, minus Magic Johnson and Todd Bowley and Mark Walter.
Well,
And
Mark Walter
got the Lakers now.
Actually, let's look that one up really fast. We're killing a little bit of time because we made it to the end of the hour a lot sooner than I thought.
I'm trying to think. Walter's got Dodgers, the Sparks, the PWHL, because he's got his name on the trophy for the Walter Cup champs.
Oh, because Walter's part of Guggenheim too, right?
Yes.
Okay, so obviously, is he still a controlling owner of the Dodgers?
I believe he is. I don't think he's given up his post.
Okay, then the Lakers, the Sparks. He owns all the LA teams, basically.
With the exception of the Kings and the Galaxy and LAFC.
And he also owns Yes.
This, in a way, Nick, is a breaking news story from the AP, but also goes to a story later in the show, though. But, Nick, a jury officially has found that Live Nation and Ticketmaster do and had a harmful monopoly over big concert venues, dealing the company a massive loss in a lawsuit over claims brought on by dozens of U.S. states, per the AP.
Yeah, we were talking about what, tens of billions of dollars being involved in this thing.
Well, we have a story about StubHub having to pay a $10 million settlement. But with that in mind, though, Nick, we'll get off this story, though, and get to this one, though, real quick. That again just broke, though. But per the AP, a jury has found that concert giant Live Nation and its Ticketmaster subsidiary had a harmful monopoly over big concert venues, dealing the company a loss in a lawsuit over claims brought on by dozens of U.S. states. A Manhattan, New York federal judge and jury deliberated for a Manhattan federal jury deliberated for 4 days before reaching their decision Wednesday in the closely watched case, which gave fans the equivalent of a backstage pass to a business that dominates live entertainment across the country and beyond. At the end of the proceeding, the judge told lawyers on both sides to meet with one another and the United States to provide a joint letter proposing a schedule for motions and how the remedies phase of the case would occur. He told them to deliver it by late next week. Live Nation Entertainment currently owns, operates, and controls booking for and has an equity interest in hundreds of venues. Ticketmaster itself is widely considered to be the world's largest ticketing seller for live events. Its lawyers did not immediately comment on the matter at hand as they left the courtroom, but said a statement would be issued out shortly. The civil case was led by the U.S. federal government, accused Live Nation of using its reach to smother competition by blocking venues from using multiple ticket sellers, for example, over a venue. Live Nation insisted it is not a monopoly, saying that artists, sports teams, and venues decide prices and ticketing practices. A company lawyer insisted its size was simply a function of excellence and effort. Ticketmaster was established back in 1976 and merged with Live Nation in 2010. The company now controls over 86% of the market for concerts and 73% of the overall market where sports events are included, according to one source. Ticketmaster has long been drawing the ire of fans and of course from some artists, as mentioned. Longtime grunge rock band Pearl Jam has been battling them for almost 30 plus years, even filing an anti-monopoly complaint with the U.S. Department of Justice, which declined to bring a case back in 1994. So, Nick, there you go.
I mean, are we really surprised that this news came out? I mean, they were holding a monopoly.
Taylor Swift's Eras Tour also, in a way, fed this narrative too. So we can look at Pearl Jam, Taylor Swift. And Beyonce. They all, in a way, have had problems with ticketing partners over the past several decades.
Well, and then the whole NFL thing that they were holding back.
Which we'll get to a bit later in the show, but yes.
But holding back the ticket fees. But these ticket companies are going to take advantage of you to every being. They want every dollar you have to buy these tickets. Oh, our tickets are valuable because no one else can get these tickets except us.
So, by the way, Nick, I'm going to a concert in August at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater in Chula Vista, which is about 40 minutes south of where I live in the city.
Okay.
Guess who their ticketing platform is?
Live Nation?
Ticketmaster and Live Nation. I bought my tickets from TickPick for $50 a piece.
Yeah, there's a few of those. You go to TickPick, or what's the one Barstool uses?
Game Time?
Game Time. Yeah. And I heard Game Time's not awful. Like, you could go.
No,
like,
they're actually reasonable. They're actually good.
And sometimes
I've had no issues with them.
And sometimes you could find like an amazing seat for a cheap price because someone's looking to get rid of their seats. Like, not a commercial, just saying that. But I've heard that they actually do a decent job, like marketing wise, for the tickets and all that.
So
stuff.
I paid $51 a piece for those two tickets for the show I'm going to. They're still on sale, Nick, on Ticketmaster for $67.20.
Of course they are. Don't forget those fees.
I saved $17 roughly off of my two tickets each.
Because we have to hide the fees from you until the last minute.
Actually, no, that is the get-in price when right now, because it includes the fees as well at the very end here.
I don't know.
So a grand total of $134.40 on Ticketmaster. I spent $102 flat on TickPick.
It's actually not bad, believe it or not.
For a summer concert at an outdoor amphitheater, absolutely.
I mean, that probably leaves you the money, like if you want to get drink or whatever and all that stuff.
Get a drink, get some merch.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Which I usually do. I'm also a concert t-shirt guy, band t-shirt guy.
But these ticket prices will you in the you-know-what.
I literally, like I said, I cannot wait for the weekend when I get to actually go into the ticket portal for the Olympics and to see how bad the damage might be to go to a soccer match here in San Diego.
You better take some video of that because I want to see what
I'm going to do that. It's also a episode of Small Market Edition, I think, about the ticketing problems that we've had. Again, Pearl Jam, as they kind of said, though, again, Eddie Vedder had long, screw you, Ticketmaster. I mean, like, literally, they would go and play at, like, random, like, youth soccer fields, for example, to get away from the Ticketmaster problems, though, and even then they still said no, you can't do it. They wanted to cap the ticket prices back in '94, Nick, of their tours back then at $18.50 a piece, without any of the other junk fees that we call them now here in 2026.
Well, they can't do that because we have to take our cut.
Yeah, which is stupid.
I mean, I get from a standpoint if you have to do it slightly because they have to make some money, because a lot of that money goes back to the artist or the group. So they have to make some money, but some of it is exorbitant. It's crazy.
So they really fired the first shot
yes.
in 1994 over service fees and monopoly concerns about Ticketmaster back when I was born in 94, which is just crazy to think it's been that long. But that everybody in a way has been fighting back against, these ticket corporations for almost 32 years now.
That's true. No, it totally is. And I guess we'll have to wait on those fees. All right. Before we get to our number 3, 4,000 watch hours. That is the goal. That is the number. To help us hit that number, check out our YouTube channel. YouTube.com/ETB Network. Go there, check out a playlist, check out all our shows, check out our live stream shows. And at the end of the show, you're going to hear about 2 more shows that are going to be making their way as 2 more live stream shows. So YouTube.com/ETB Network. Check out our YouTube channel. Check out all our social media platforms as well. Connect to the YouTube channel at ETB Network. If you go to our YouTube channel, let it play in the background while you work. Help us hit that monetization milestone today, even if that means you're, I don't know, working outside in the garden. I mean, it is hot enough. Felt like 90 degrees here in New York today.
70 degrees out here today. The rain finally came and went. About damn time.
It's warmer here than it is where you are, and that usually doesn't happen.
Normally it's the other way around.
But put on our playlist or go to YouTube and search Empty the Bench Network. And just put our shows on. Listen to these 2 dopes doing press row.
You blokes going somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And just keep the playlist running. It helps us. And And thank you to the 401 people watching today on our show. So we've had a combined of 700 people streaming us in the last 2 days. So thank you. I know that's not a huge number to some people, but that's a big number for us.
It won't eclipse the 730 we had for the WNBA strike show, and that was great with, again, a lot of our, people who did subscribe, though, and were commenting, again, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, though. Again, we love to hear people's thoughts, though, about where their thoughts are when it comes to the industry in a way and whatnot. So we, again, greatly appreciate everyone who's tuned in over the last couple of days. For that matter, for every show that we have here on the network, not just us, though, but everybody else, though. I think I speak for the rest of us, though, when it comes to every program that we have, though, on here live has always been viewed very, very well.
Yeah. I mean, and unfortunately, like you brought up playback before, like we just were not getting the pull through because, again, it was just, you couldn't do it. It was hard to get people to watch. So now we kind of moved our operation over to YouTube and Twitter and all that stuff. And now we are taking off like a well-oiled machine. All right. Hour number 3 of the show
already
commences now. All right. So Jackie Young, the WNBA's first millionaire. The Las Vegas Aces have officially signed star Jackie Young to a 1-year deal at the regular maximum of $1.19 million. She's the first $1 million player in WNBA history. This deal highlights the Aces' commitment to their core trio of Young, Asia Wilson, which we'll get to in a second, and Chelsea Gray. Now that the $1 million ceiling is gone, how does this change the leverage for the next wave of stars like Paige Beckers entering the league?
Isn't it great, Nick, to finally see that now we have women making $1 million contracts after almost 30 plus years of fighting against the administration?
Fight the administration, yeah. I mean, I think I saw like 8 or 9 WNBA players have $1 million contracts, including Asia Wilson.
Which, by the way, again, that just broke about an hour ago that Asia Wilson signed a 3-year, $5 million Supermax contract to stay with the Aces per both Drea Carter and Shams Charania. The deal is now the largest in WNBA history to date now. But again, Nick, now that bar is going to keep going up and up and up and up and up and up.
I mean, that's a lot of money for a WNBA player. No offense. I'm not saying that they don't deserve it.
It's long overdue, though. It's long overdue.
That's a lot of money for WNBA players, though. Like, they deserve it. Totally. Asia Wilson has been on a tear. And the Aces have won, what, like 3 out of the last 5?
3 of the last 4 titles, and she's won 4 MVPs, which is a new league record for MVP wins.
She deserves to be paid. Every way. You see her in all these commercials now on ESPN platforms and everywhere. I mean, incredible. Incredible for the WNBA. Jackie Young, too, has been a really good player in the W. Also, just wait. You're going to see more people getting $1 million contracts. There was another weird audio piece. I don't know if you saw this also, which is attached to the WNBA draft. I know we weren't going to talk about this as much, but I think we have a couple minutes to do this.
Yes, we have plenty of time.
So I'm sure you saw, obviously, Ozzie Fudd was drafted number 1 to the Dallas Wings. And of course, there was a lot of BS speculation that took place because she was drafted number 1 to the Wings. Do you know why?
Because her and Paige are dating, I believe.
Yes. And a certain idiot, and yes, that idiot had to make a comment. And we're going to listen to that because this was a little disturbing-ish. A little. And yes, it's our favorite Fetluck.
Fat!
Yeah. So this got a little, I'm just going to say now, if you're a younger person, just bear with us because Jason Whitlock sometimes doesn't censor himself when he talks. But listen to this because this is a little odd.
There's nothing the WNBA loves more than a same-sex love story.
Gay, so gay.
And last night, at the top of the WNBA draft, they installed another same-sex love story.
With the first pick in the 2026 WNBA draft, the Dallas Wings select AZ Fudd, University of Connecticut.
They're pairing her with her former college teammate and now girl toy, Paige Beckers, in Dallas. This is what the WNBA is all about, promoting same-sex couples. They love this. Remember Dianna Bonner and Alyssa Thomas in Phoenix? This is what the WNBA is all about, promoting the LGBTQIA+ silent P agenda. And they did it again last night.
Oh, for sure. I'm excited to play again with Paige. I mean, she's an incredible person, incredible player, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
AZ Fudd had no business being at the top of this draft. She wasn't supposed to be at the top of the draft. Most people had her falling in the draft. She had an embarrassing Final Four performance when Connecticut got boat raced by South Carolina. AZ Fudd was not the number 1 overall pick in this draft.
You done messed up, Aaron!
The 6'7" woman from UCLA probably should have been the number 1 overall pick. She's a walking bucket. There's nothing anybody can do with it. She knows how to pass out of the post. She just won the national championship. How did Lauren Betts not go number 1? Because the WNBA loves same-sex couple stories, and they're electing Paige Beckers and AZ Fudd to be the first couple of the WNBA, and they're going to shove this power couple down our throats. Nothing drove me more insane during the NCAA tournament than the constant AZ Fudd commercials playing during the men's and women's tournament.
Thanks, friends. Thanks, family. Thanks, 13,000 Geico claim specialists.
No one knows who AZ Fudd is. No one cares who AZ Fudd is. They're pretending like AZ Fudd is Caitlin Clark. She's not. She's a nice college basketball player with no real following. And now at the top of the draft, because they want to promote gay marriage.
Brother,
This is everything I can't stand about the WNBA. They make it hard. They make it nearly impossible to watch this league. It's never about basketball. And maybe because the basketball is just that bad and that brutal, other than Caitlin Clark, that they're always promoting the agenda.
but resist we much. We must and we will much about that be committed.
AZ Fudd, Paige Beckers, good luck to you. I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun off the court. I hope you get a lot of losses on the court.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Wow. What was the
Wow.
whole point? What was the whole point of that?
That's wild, though.
Does every little minute story have to be commented on by Jason Fat Whitlock, for God's sakes?
But that was a little wild, you have to admit. Like,
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, this is nothing new, though, sadly, in women's sports, Nick, where there are power couples across sports in soccer or basketball.
but to insult her and say she's not a top college basketball talent?
Yeah, maybe it's the scouting department who saw something in Fudd over Betts. How about that?
But for him to say that she's not even a talent and doesn't have a following.
That could not be more farther from the truth, sadly. I mean, the story of her ripping her ACL April 13th of 2017 or 2018, having to come back and play somehow over the last several, now maybe not that recent, but I think she had one big ACL tear, had another ACL tear during her time at UConn, to now going to being the number one draft pick, though, is not anything involving who she's dating. It's involving the fact that it's a knockdown comeback story of getting back to the top of physical performance.
Jason, if you did your research, Ozzy Fudd has 774,000 followers on Instagram. That's not a following?
And also, Whitlock, do more research that Dianna Bonner also had a relationship with Candace Dupree in Phoenix before she got into a relationship with Alyssa Thomas in Connecticut.
And again, this goes back to the point that Jason Whitlock is narrative-based. If it doesn't fit his narrative, then it doesn't work. But to say she's not Caitlin Clark, no one's Caitlin Clark.
No one's trying to be Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is an anomaly. Okay. Caitlin Clark has done things that are in the record books. Okay. But are you just going to put down every other woman in the W or in women's
And in a
basketball?
way, Jason Whitlock showed his intelligence about the WNBA. He basically, in a way, just said, "I don't watch it, but I'm going to give you an opinion anyway." It reminds me of a old friend of his network. He did the same stupid thing on numerous occasions.
But I just don't understand. Like, what was the point of the video? Like, so you're not happy that Ozzy Fudd went first, okay?
You're not happy about that. You don't want people to, they're going to shove down LGBTQ plus, propaganda down people's
Which
throats
they
now.
haven't done, by the way.
They have not done that whatsoever over the course of the draft day or even leading up to the draft.
Well, let me ask another question. And it's not, it's a comparison, but it's not one-to-one.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, what did you say about Bronny being drafted by the Lakers with LeBron James on it?
Greatest thing ever.
But I want to know if Jason criticized that.
I doubt it.
Because there are a lot of people who said, "Oh, it's nepotism." It is nepotism.
Yes. You know what else is nepotism? Bruce Pearl's kid coaching at Auburn after his dad got fired.
But to say she's a no talent and has no following, like, that's just ignorant in every way, shape, or form.
I mean, who put him out in left field for these thoughts?
And I'm checking. I just want to check because I checked Instagram. I don't know if she has a TikTok or not, but
I'm sure. I think she does.
But I would say 774,000 followers on Instagram. Yeah, she does have a TikTok.
And she's got 44,000 followers on Twitter.
Okay, she has 738,000 followers on TikTok. I'm sorry.
No following.
Come on, Jason, do your homework, man. It's not that hard.
I mean, I get it that you're all about like spitballing, and it's called the Blaze Network. Well, you know what though? The Blaze Network is about as useful as a Blaze Pizza restaurant, which went out of business out here.
Oh, I miss Blaze Pizza. Actually, we still have it. You know, LeBron James is invested in that, right?
I'm aware of that, but still, like, again, what's the point? You know, if it's only to bring down athletes of sports you obviously don't care about, you don't watch, but yet you have this itch you can't scratch on your face to go and make comments about it when you don't do the research. You clearly don't watch the game. You clearly didn't watch her in the tournament, let alone her whole career. Why butt in?
Well,
again, if it's because of this whole LGBTQ plus propaganda that people are trying to say, that wasn't even the point.
We haven't seen that.
Whenever was that ever a thing leading up to draft day? Okay, Paige Becker's going to watch AZ play. That's what I think any other former teammate would do during the course of a tournament or during a game in general.
Regardless of relationship or not.
Regardless, you go there and support those who support you.
I mean, isn't it true like Tarazi and Stewie?
Tarazi and Bird go to all the UConn games.
I think Stewie also, like... and the reason I wanted to say one more thing, because the comment that he wrote above the video was a little out there.
You can only imagine what it said, though, too.
So it says, Ozzy Fudd had no business being selected at the top of the WNBA draft, which he said in the video. Now, I'm going to read this, but it's a little out there. The WNBA just wants to promote to fans that she scissors with Paige Beckers. What are you accomplishing by writing that?
Absolutely nothing.
So
Whitlock, not like any of you on the right-wing side of that spectrum, you act like you care about women's sports and what you want to try to do to certain athletes. This is not the way to go about it, because the league did not stuff any of that malarkey down my throat or Nick's throat or anybody else's throat that actually watches the WNBA, watches women's sports, watches women's basketball at any point at all on Monday. on draft night.
And this goes back to what I said before about Whitlock earlier, that why do you, well, that too, but you realize why Whitlock has no more relationships. He had, first of all, he was like the king of relationships for a long time.
He chose to take a match and burn them all down.
All of ESPN hates him. All of Fox hates him. He was doing a show with Colin Cowherd, which, by the way, is probably one of the more successful people in the industry right now. He blew that relationship up.
And had the gall to call him out on his program as we played last night during the Russini bonus hour last night.
Trying to compare it to Colin Kaepernick and
George Floyd.
George Floyd, which, again, I don't think the comparison made any sense whatsoever. But to say that Ozzie Fudd has no talent and she blew it in the tournament.
Team sport, my friend. And you know what, though? If you're going to actually say that she has no talent, then why, though, for your B-roll, Whitlock, did you use B-roll of her making baskets?
Yeah, that kind of...
Way to contradict yourself, you moron.
Hey, Jason, if you want to say people have no talent, why don't you go out and play a one-on-one against her and see how that goes?
She would beat him 21-zip.
Jason is a useless hack in this business where all he cares about is negativity. He's one of those guys that's looking to draw attention to himself off negativity of others. Okay, that's all he cares about. You notice every story, there's not a single positive spin.
Never.
How do you live life where all you do...
I mean, are you that grumpy and disgruntled and arrogant and pompous to be waking up every day on the wrong side of the rack and always, oh, the world sucks, blah, 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 blah. Like, come on, dude. Go
and
touch
you know,
your ass.
And you know what? The way he fancies himself in these videos, like he's the genius and he knows better than everybody else. Come on, dude. I know we all have egos in this business. We all do. But you're not a genius, man. You're actually a dumbass. If you really want my full sense of it. Yeah. I mean, you wish you had your relationships, Jason, with Colin Cowherd and everybody else. Even though he admits he doesn't want to be part of the establishment anymore.
Please.
Come on, dude.
Who are you fooling, man? Who really out there are you fooling?
Stephen A. Smith is taking you down every time you've said something. And Stephen A. was right about this when we did it last time. Your views go up because you're talking about Stephen A. Smith, not because of what you're doing.
In a way, it shows you who's more popular, too.
Well, you notice why he picks and chooses what he goes after, right? Because he knows it's going to drive clicks. And it's not because they're listening to him. It's because they're listening to see what dumb shit he's going to say next.
Yeah.
Jason Whitlock is like the scum of the sports media industry. And that's why he's working at The Blaze, which is technically a political form network, which is allowing him to do some form of sports show. Because every other network said, run away. We don't want to deal with this anymore.
Kitty Rod on the loose.
So, I don't know, man. It's leave the W alone. They didn't do anything to you. But to say the LGBTQIA plus, that is a mouthful to say, by the way. But
it is. I've done it. I literally did it a couple of weeks ago during Pride Night for the Gulls, actually.
Because I'm so used to just saying LGBTQ. That's what I would. And
LGBTQ plus. Yeah, that's usually what it is.
But Jason, until you understand that your shit don't stink no more, you're going to be a miserable person the rest of your life.
He already is. Who cares? By the way, Nick, I did find a table finally of where the average annual value of these contracts now are at this rate for the W. Again, Asia Wilson got that $5 million deal. Other ones that have been signed per reports: Kelsey Mitchell to Indiana, 1 year Supermax, $1.4 million. Isa Magabir, Seattle, 3 years, $1.25 million. Bridget Carlton, Portland Fire, expansion team, 3 years, $1.249 million. Alana Smith, Dallas, 3 years, $1.2495 as well. Gabby Williams, Golden State, 3 years, $1.249. Alicia Gray, Atlanta, 3 years, $1.233 million. Kalia Copper back to Phoenix, 2 years, $1.23 million. Jackie Young in $1.19 million, as did Brittany Griner with Connecticut, via going to Houston next season. So long overdue to finally see this come to fruition.
Yeah, the W players deserve to make a lot more money than they were making. That's what they were fighting for in the lockout coverage. I mean, I thought there was going to be a lockout. I really did. I thought there was no way they're going to. First of all, I don't even think this is still 100% fair deal for the
Agreed.
players. But they got to play ball. They couldn't hold out forever. They were going to lose money if they didn't play.
And thankfully, they finally did. All right, Nick, back from one ticketing snafu to another ticketing snafu. Again, folks, we had that breaking news, though, again, that a jury in New York has, in fact, found that Live Nation and Ticketmaster were in on a monopoly over venues and ticket prices. But, of course, Nick, away from that, though, StubHub is now being forced to pay $10 million to settle FTC charges regarding drip pricing. The company allegedly privately planned to violate the new fee transparency rules, mainly around the NFL releasing their schedule last season, a 99th percentile traffic event to gain a price advantage over competitors who are showing the full cost up front, as is required now by new laws across the country, including out here in California. But I think when a company blatantly slow rolls federal compliance to win a high traffic weekend, is a $10 million fine a real deterrent or simply marketing expenses?
They don't care. We see big companies all the time where they try to skirt the tax laws or the federal commission laws. So is this really a big shocker that we saw another company try to skirt the laws and try to hold the fees back or try to do all this stuff? No, but you got to follow the laws. And if you're stupid enough to get caught, you're stupid enough to get caught. Nothing will ever be enough money. There's no monetary value, in my opinion, that would show they got hit in the wallet. Unless it was like $100 million or $1 billion. That would be the only way to hit them in the wallet visibly. But they're just going to continue doing it again, or they're going to do whatever loopholes they can find around the law so that they're legally in compliance.
Yeah, I mean, this is really nothing new at this rate when it comes to it. I mean, you know, we talked a bit earlier, Nick, about the breaking news again. Once more, if you're just joining us here, that the AP has reported, though, that a jury in Manhattan has found Live Nation and Ticketmaster liable for a monopoly of some type over venues and ticket sale prices or whatnot. I don't think, Nick, I've used StubHub in who knows how long, because I think a lot of the venues I've gone to now use Ticketmaster or Access, which is AXS, or they use, you know, some other weird, you know, company out there. And I remember, though, Nick, that a lot of times I would use StubHub. Fees would be out, though, you know, up to wazoo, as you would usually say, though, before it became mandated, though. And again, I don't know what the proper protocol or practice would be to deter StubHub from doing this again when the NFL schedule comes out in May.
Well, Rolling Stone also put out a story saying the consequences could range from heavy monetary damages, that doesn't matter, to a possible breakup of Live Nation and Ticketmaster.
That I feel like would be the only way forward here because of how that jury ruled today, though. And I think that they've caused more headaches for sports or for concert goers in the last several years.
Well, this is saying, according to a jury, that Live Nation is operating as a monopoly. Because technically they're like the only what's the word I'm looking for? Only thing in town to buy tickets. But imagine if after all that work and all that money, they had to separate the companies due to legal not following federal commission rules. I mean, it would cost them a lot of this.
That is true.
First of all, none of this is going to happen. I just don't. They'll pay off whatever. They'll go back. Then they'll get caught again. Then we'll just keep paying it off. And billionaires do this too. Like they find ways. Oh, well, we broke the rules. All right, we'll just pay it off and make it go away. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know where to go here. I don't think it really matters who you buy your tickets to. It's going to be expensive as hell, though, as I kind of already said, though, about buying my tickets to see Muse coming up in August here in San Diego at the NICU Amphitheater in Chula Vista. And again, there's no proper way, Nick, to really, I think, punish the ticket brokers out there like a StubHub or a AXS or a Ticketmaster, because you might ding them a few $1,000,000, but they're going to make that revenue back within like 2 hours when it comes to events.
And that's the crazy part. Like, they don't care. They're just going to make the money.
What do we got?
According to Awful Announcing, Netflix has picked up CONCACAF media rights in Mexico.
In Mexico. Okay, interesting.
The streaming giant has secured Mexican broadcast rights to both the CONCACAF Gold Cup and CONCACAF Nations League finals through 2029. Both competitions are scheduled to be contested in 27 and 29.
That
you
sounds about right.
would know this. You would know this better than me.
Yeah, the Gold Cup is usually a CONCACAF tournament, so it's usually Team USA, Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean, and some of the South American countries that play in a tournament to, crown a Gold Cup champ. It's usually during the World Cup, like after the World Cup concludes usually. And the other one was the Nations League, right?
So it's interesting. It says here, it's not clear if Netflix will produce its own broadcasts for the Nations League final, which will take place next March, a few months prior to the 2027 World Cup. But so if it does,
that appears to be a UEFA thing, unless I'm missing that up here.
It says, but if it does, the match could provide a nice test run for Netflix as it prepares for its summer soccer takeover.
So there's where MLS to Netflix, calling it now at this rate. Good Lord.
I mean, well, according to Nick D, everyone has Netflix.
So let me look back and double check on the Nations League again. So this is a 41-team tournament and a qualifier for the Gold Cup in Copa America is what it is. So that would be in 2026, 27. Okay, that's the schedule. I kind of drawing a blank here because this tournament really, I don't think runs in cohesion with Major League Soccer, because MLS already has enough as is with champions, with the Champions Cup and the Leagues Cup. So,
right.
So this is basically so this is a qualifying tournament for the CONCACAF Gold Cup being held in 2027. That's what it is. So 41 teams are playing for 16 spots in the tournament. That's how it works. And that's going to be Netflix in Mexico only. So that'll be interesting to see if that actually does come to fruition up here in the States.
Right. Yes.
Interesting.
Man. Seems like Netflix wants everything, don't they?
And I mean, I think Nick D made a good point, though. But that's just kind of where sports are going, whether or not people have the platforms or not.
I mean, I'm seeing a lot of it too. I mean, you're seeing it with NBC also, that they're using the Kentucky Derby is now the lead into the NBA playoffs now. I mean, it's amazing. People are just using everything to lead into stuff. I see some other news also here that Bill Cowher is going to be joining the Pat McAfee show NFL draft coverage too.
Oh.
Kind of interesting, right? Because he works for CBS.
Yeah, that is a little weird. Real quick, Nick, going back to a update from both Steve Gardner and Mike Giannotto of the USA Today about the LIV future. Again, folks, we're keeping an eye on this story, though. There's a looming chance right now that the LIV Golf Tour will, in fact, be going under finally. Hallelujah, perhaps if you're a golf fan. But per the reports, though, the two writers, though, from USA Today, again, officials, as we said a bit earlier in the show, though, LIV golf officials broke away, or officials from the breakaway tour were summoned earlier on Wednesday to an emergency meeting in New York, according to a report in the Telegraph, amid speculation fueled by social media on Tuesday night that the circuit could be on the verge of shutting down operation. Further questions raised by Monday Q Information on Twitter. Ryan French, who cited multiple unnamed sources, did say that a bombshell announcement was also imminent. French also went on a X live stream later in the evening on April 14th to elaborate, saying a part that I think everybody should be probably by their phones. It's happening and definitely happening. Of course, this tour came in the limelight in 2023 with the Saudi Public Investment Fund, or the SPIF, and the PGA Tour trying to announce a framework agreement for a deal, but a negotiation stalled and no progress was ever made over the last 3 years. Telegraph Sport further reports that no LIV golf executives were on site at the Mexico City's Club de Golf Chapultepec because they were attending what was described to be a emergency summit up in Manhattan, New York.
Interesting.
So this will be a story we'll probably have to monitor throughout the course of the rest of the day to come back on here and hopefully have another update. Who knows?
So I got another one here. This one you might find a little shocking. Actually, so this is according to Ryan Ermani, who works for Fox 2 News in Detroit and also WJR Radio in Detroit. This will be the last year of Comerica Park. Steve Davis, fifth third Michigan region president, told me they will rename the ballpark sometime in October or November.
Wow. Holy cow.
What are they going to name it? Well, oh, God. Are we going to get another Little Caesars something? Oh, God.
Little Caesars Park?
Oh, that's going to be so weird.
Don't the Ellick family own the Tigers, too?
Let's find out.
If that's the case, then yeah, it'll be Little Caesars Park.
Let's see.
Or it might be General Motors, maybe.
Lilich family, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're owned by the Lilich family.
So it's I will say it's either going to be Little Caesars
or General Motor Park.
Or General Motors.
But that's one of those things where you're just like, come on, man, stop with all the weird changes.
It's like Dodger Stadium having the playing field being sponsored by a Japanese company.
It's like what such and such name at Dodger Stadium or whatever.
Yeah, same thing with the LA Coliseum. Nobody but the radio and TV team will call it United Airlines Field at the LA Memorial Coliseum.
Ugh. You realize how much of a mouthful that is?
It's just the LA Coliseum.
Or that's like the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Yeah, which has not been a thing in 10 years, but still.
Do you remember when they had to go to court to fight that
Yes.
whole thing? Like, Jesus.
I remember it happening in 2005.
Or what about Crypto.com Arena?
Staples Center. Oh, believe it or not, even when the Forum became Great Western back in the 80s, that was an anomaly back in that time frame. It was never, you never gave out naming rights to an arena or a stadium.
That's going to be so weird not seeing Comerica Park next year. Well, there's not going to be baseball for a year, so maybe we'll be fine. We'll get used to it.
Still, though, man, Comerica Park, though, it's like a pretty damn iconic for a ballpark that opened up around the early to mid 2000s.
It's just crazy. It's either going to be Little Caesars or General Motors. I don't know what else is Detroit based.
I don't know. Those two make the most logical sense, though. Honestly, they do.
Yeah, I guess so. All right. Moving on to Barstool. So, Barstool Sports personality Evan Big Ev McDowell is reportedly sidelined amid the allegations that he requested introductions to illegal bookies and subsequently failed to pay for lost wages. Screenshots have circulated on social media appearing to show McDowell ghosting individuals who claim he owes upwards of $15,000 to $17,000. For a company like Barstool that is heavily funded by a legal sports book, does a personality using off-the-books bookies create a massive compliance risk that makes him untradeable and unemployable in the modern space?
Why in the world are you, a member of Barstool, going around
looking for bookies?
Looking for bookies when you literally have a damn gaming partner?
They're partnered fully with DraftKings Sportsbook. There's no need for now. The only logical reasoning I could make is that maybe the bookie price was better odds price. Let me be very clear when I say this. Do not gamble illegally. I'm saying that very strictly before I make this point, because I'm just explaining the psyche of what went on possibly in his head. That maybe he got a better price from a bookie.
Maybe.
Or a lot of times when you use a bookie, you don't pay unless you lose.
And we're talking about between $15,000 to $17,000 in missed gambling debt.
Well, I heard that was multiple times the 15,000, 17,000. So, and there were people messaging him saying, well, the bookie's putting me on the hook for his debt because he wasn't answering. That's what bookies do. They need somebody on the hook in case, because they're not going to miss out on their money.
Absolutely not.
But here's the thing, okay? And this goes back to like when we worked with Novig and we were doing all this stuff. But wait, there's a reason I bring it up. We were very careful every time we said stuff. Okay? And we were very clear with disclaimers. We were very clear with when we were using the Novig sports book that we told everybody, hey, here's the disclaimers. Here's what you need to know. And you need to follow these rules. And that's what you have to do when you're working with a sports book. You have to be very careful that you're following all the rules, prim and proper, 100%, so you don't get sued, and you don't have the feds knocking down your door.
Right.
So that's what's weird about this story. And I just want to see if I could find it. It was an awful announcing story, I think, right?
Yes.
Here it is. So, sidelined by the outlet amid multiple accusations of stiffing bookies that helped connect him to other instances, failed to repay followers who placed wagers on his behalf. Here's a no-no when it comes to gambling. Place your own bets.
Yes.
Never place a bet for anybody because they could run away if they don't win the bet.
Of course.
Since allegations for service, McDowell has gone silent on social media, ceased appearances on Barstool's gambling shows like Pick Central, and he was removed because Barstool gets, what's it called, on DraftKings, featured parlays. So they would put
yes.
So they would put different Barstool personalities, and like they would ask them to put featured parlays together, and then they would feature them on the sites.
Right.
So, and you have a lot of people who responded in the story say, well, now the bookie's putting me on the hook because you never paid your gambling debt back. Rule of thumb, make your own bets.
Never do it for anyone else, as you said, because they can just up and walk away and say, yeah, nothing happened here. What are you talking about?
You have no proof that or a signed agreement that says I was going to pay you back. That's just such a scumbag thing to do. Like, and again, he should lose his job because they have a partner in DraftKings.
That's why I said, though, why would you go and even take that risk or the literal take the gamble by doing that when you literally have a sponsor, DraftKings, sponsoring Barstool? Why go behind their back like that? Well, what does that say about your character, going behind the company's back in some capacity like this?
It says you're a scumbag.
Yes.
Because you're not, because I think it's because he was looking for better betting odds. I can't prove that. So I'm saying allegedly that's what he was doing, but I don't have any insider information, no pun intended, that proves it otherwise. That's just my hunch, but I don't know.
I was just double checking real quick. So the only last update we've gotten regarding Drew Lerner's commentary from Awful Announcing regarding Live Golf being basically on their deathbed. But the last update came at 1:36 Eastern, so before we took the air. But Drew Lerner's last update, the Financial Times is now reporting that the Saudi Arabia's PIF is on the verge of cutting its support for LIV. The announcement on the tour's future, again, is expected as soon as tomorrow. But I really, though, think, Nick, before we get to our last topic here, in a few minutes here. I really think that we're on the verge, though, of this happening sometime overnight before the day out here is done on the West Coast.
Oh, well, you and I are going to be on the trail. We're gonna find out plenty. Don't you worry about that. So you're just gonna have to stay tuned and wait because we don't have all the information currently.
Just as a quick update, that the tour is expected to at least maybe get through day one tomorrow on Thursday from Mexico City. Tee times are set for roughly 12:15 Pacific tomorrow, 3:15 Eastern, before they go to Virginia and then Korea. But the way that we're going here, Nick, I cannot wait, though, when they play this final tournament and then they're gone goodbye.
I mean, I'm not surprised either. Are you?
Now, I think the big question, though, here, we got about 6 minutes to kill before we get to our last topic here and get to press clippings. If, in fact, Nick, that live golf sinks to the bottom of the ocean, what the hell do you do now if you're a live golf player? Do you go back and get on your knees and beg and plead for the PGA to bring you back?
Well, some of those, they're going to have to pay out those contracts, even if they get.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's really not going to matter because those contracts are going to have to get paid out because they're legal contracts. They're not out of money. They just, I think, PIF finally said, we're sick of this shit. We're not making any money from it.
The USA Today, Nick, has a reaction from PGA Tour CEO Brian Rolap, who did an interview with former ESPN SportsCenter anchor Trey Wingo on Tuesday, in which he was asked about the speculation regarding LIV's future. Brian acknowledged that he was finding out details about Liv's potential demise through the same media reports as everyone else, and did not stray from his comments made back in March in regards to LIV members wanting to rejoin the PGA Tour. In part, his quote reads, "I've always said on the subject that I'm interested in whatever makes the PGA Tour better. The fans want the best players to be playing together. Having said that, I don't know what the circumstances are. Once there's clarity, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but we're clearly not there at this rate." Also, further, Nick, disgraced golfer Sergio Garcia, who had a major lash out at the Masters this past weekend.
He had an apology. He put it out on Twitter.
At Wednesday's pre-tournament press conference, Sergio Garcia was asked if he had any inside information, said in part that we have not heard anything yet. From what we have heard, though, from Yasir Al-Rumian, that told us at the start of the year he's behind us with a long-term project. There's always rumors, but I cannot say more than what we already know, open and close quote. Mr. Al-Rumian runs the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund under the PIF, which helps finance Live Golf. Furthermore, Jacob Bridgman said in part that Brooks Koepka's return has been great, though, for the PGA Tour. Again, he was one of the only players who had defunct or had left LIV and defected back, I should say, back to the PGA. And by the way, as of early this year, the PIF's investment, Nick, $5.3 billion of investment for LIV Golf.
Which I guarantee you they have not made a single dollar in profit. Probably.
Absolutely not. Because I'll be honest, Nick, I tried to watch one of those events from Vegas. I think they were playing at one of the Steve Wynn owned courses near the Strip. You could see all the buildings in the background. Nobody was there. Nobody was on those fairways or at the green. It was flat out embarrassing watching that tournament on the CW.
You know what they were trying to do? They were trying to buy names, not try to build a tour. And in the long run,
problem that I think they really did was like, hey, we got John Rahm. Hey, we got Dustin Johnson. That's cool.
We got Phil Mickelson.
How are you building this thing from the ground up, though?
Just because you have names doesn't mean people are going to show up. There's no infrastructure. I barely see Live Golf being promoted on Twitter or any platform.
And so they jumped to Fox and then they jumped.
They tried to go to Fox. They tried. And then I think they jumped again to CW, which is not available everywhere, by the way.
No, I get it down here, or I get it in SoCal, but not a lot of people have the CW on their cable packages or in general.
I got it. I have CW too. But Live Golf is dead. I'm just willing to say it now.
And before we move on here, Nick, and get ready to wrap up for the day, I got a hard out at 2 o'clock for work today. But what do I always say, though, Morgasen? Whenever there's another league or entity that sprouts up, the AFL, the ABA,
AAF.
the WHA, the AAF, what usually happens to them?
XFL.
What usually happens to them?
They die.
They
blow up because they can't compete with the NFL or
the NBA, the NHL, what have you.
It's just you can't compete with the major four, at least. Soccer is a very competitive sport, I would say, but it's broken up into different nationalities and regions.
You've got leagues around the world, and no one's really. I mean, the EPL is probably the one I watch. You know, I watch MLS, the EPL. I don't really. I mean, I'll watch Liga MX every so often because of the Tijuana Cholos, and we play them a lot during the course of, or we played that league a lot though with MLS during the course of the spring and the summer or the late summer. I mean, Live Golf. You know, they were nowhere close.
It was
a
failure from the start.
It was a failure from the word go, and I can't wait to dance on their grave tonight when, in fact, they say that we're shutting down operation.
Well, that's a good tease. If they get blown up tonight, you might see us again later tonight, because we're going to do our best to try to track down all this information for Live Golf. But it was a failure from the word go. And the only reason people were giving it a chance is because the Saudi Public Interest Fund was behind it. Oh, look, we have hundreds of billions of dollars, and we're just going to keep throwing money at it. I mean, I don't know. Just because you have money doesn't mean you're a success. It never means you're a success. And that's the problem. Just because you have money doesn't mean you're going to be a success. Having money means you have the ability to keep a business afloat. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be successful. It just means that you have plenty bankrolled so that you don't go bankrupt.
Either way, we'll keep an eye on that story, though, folks. And in fact, if in fact Liv does in fact sink to the bottom of the ocean, we will be back later tonight to break it all down for you for another bonus hour of Press Row. And if in fact it happens, we'll hold out our judgment of this story too, as we did earlier on with Dianna Russini. With that though, Nick, in mind though, very interesting take though here from SBJ regarding that newer stadiums nowadays, like the upcoming new Titan Stadium in Nashville, are now reimagining or getting rid of the low-cost upper deck seats in favor of more premium spaces and standing room social gathering decks. Nick, as new stadium economics shift towards fewer, more expensive seats, are we now pricing out the common lifelong fan before they even get the chance to go to their first ever game in their life, perhaps, because of how these new designs are being done?
So this is what I started to talk to you about last night, where it's all about corporate. It's all about corporate partners, suites, private decks, places where you can sit, where all the food and all the amenities are in one place, so that you don't have to get up and go to the concessions and do it,
or be amongst the general public.
Right. I've been fortunate, like when my dad and I travel, like I've been to 13 stadiums, and we purchased seats because we only go to these places one time in our lives. We want to sit. And I've had the ability. They just come to the seat, they take your food order, it comes back, and it's all there. Like, I wish they would do that more often, even for the general population that goes to the game. Just make the food accessible for everybody so they don't have to get up and miss the game. Okay? I wish they would figure that out. The upper deck, unfortunately, and the one that comes to mind is the Oaklamento A's. If you remember, they had to cover the upper deck because it was embarrassing how empty it looked.
Oh, yeah. I remember the Padres having to do that, too, in their latter years at Qualcomm Stadium.
It's embarrassing, though. I mean, and what was the funny thing they used to put the Hall of Fame numbers like on the tarping?
Retired numbers, their World Series victories, like division championships, league pennants, all that stuff.
Come on, man. You're not hiding shit. We know you can't fill the stadium. or you couldn't fill the stadium. Just admit it.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that say to you as a fan base or a franchise that even your fans are not willing to buy cheaper seats?
Yeah, and I recall that with the Padres at one point after the fire sale of '93 when they traded away Gary Sheffield and Tony Fernandez and Joe Carter and Fred McGriff all got dealt. And, the Warner ownership was so bad here in town that the Padres were drawing, maybe 10,000, if not less than that. Then I also remember though, like 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, when they were not great, obviously, that a lot of the sections in the upper decks, like in center field, for example, and down the right field line, they would be covered up by, retired numbers or sponsored by Sempra Energy, for example, or Saquon, or they had the Padre logo on them or whatever the case may have been. And it was like a little bit demoralizing. Like, gosh, we go to the World Series in '98 and then the team gets stripped down to bare bones. And now we can't even fill up to the club level or let alone the damn freaking press level, for heaven's sakes, at Qualcomm.
It's like what I just said. They only care about corporate. That's all they care about now. As I see more news. Yeah, I just saw that too. I'll read that.
Go ahead.
So this just popped. Well, this was about an hour ago, but the New York Times is reporting that high-level Live executives have begun their own personal job searches as the future of the league is now in doubt.
Oh.
Members of the leadership team were informed on Sunday after the Masters they would soon, quote, lose their positions. Liv is reportedly desperately trying to find a way to continue forward with the prospect of no PIF investment and a smaller budget. It looks like you and I are coming back later today.
We're going to go now, folks, to press clippings here. Again, I got a hard out here in 10 minutes. Get ready to start getting ready for work, though. But Nick, will start things off, though, with ESPN re-signing John Buccigross to a new extension, again, which now secures his 30-year Jiminy Cricket status with the Mickey Mouse Run organization. Of course, though, Nick, John's been a big contributor, though, for ESPN's hockey coverage and, of course, on SportsCenter for all these years. Bravo to him for 30 years, though, at ESPN.
Winner, winner, chicken parm dinner. Yeah, one of my favorite sayings of him on SportsCenter, by the way. I love what he's doing with hockey. He's finally getting to do play-by-play for hockey, which is kind of cool. I think he does some of the women's tournaments and the college tournaments also.
Usually, and I think he also called the Frozen Four from Vegas as well, and Denver U winning another national championship, too, this past weekend.
He just sounds like he has fun, like doing hockey.
And now he's doing Victory Plus content with Frank Cervalli, who's one of the lead NHL insiders across the country.
Oh, I didn't know he was doing that. Okay.
Yeah.
But he just sounds like he has fun covering hockey. Like
he does.
And also, I think he's doing the occasional thing that they do with all the hockey games on ESPN, like the roundabout coverage or whatever.
Yeah, but whenever they do Frozen Frenzy, yeah.
And I think they also air like a simulcasted podcast, I think sometimes.
Yeah, simulcasted podcast. They got Inside the Crease, too, which is on ESPN Plus, which I think he helps lead that, too, with PK Subban, Mark Messier, TJ Oshie, our friend Blake Bolden, who's also been obviously making her rounds on ESPN.
I always take a picture every time and I send it to him. I'm like, oh, my God.
He was on the show with us. It was great.
But no, I'm happy for Bucci. I think he's one of the better personalities at ESPN.
And even when ESPN didn't have the hockey rights, though, him and Barry Melrose, God bless his soul again, hoping that he's recovering from, doing well with his recovery from cancer. They made it a point, though, to give those two like a good block of coverage to be able to show hockey highlights and top the game.
Those two, when they would do the Velvet Rope segment on SportsCenter, or it was him and Steve Levy also.
Oh, Levy's another great hockey guy for ESPN.
Man, I miss Melrose. Like, it was weird at times because, like, they would have him come in and do the SportsCenter segments. And you're like, wait a minute. ESPN doesn't have any NHL rights. What's going on here? But he was also doing work for NHL Network, I think, also. But that was always so random. Like, he would come in with Neil and Stan on SportsCenter, and they would at least make it fun.
Yeah.
Slightly, but like, I don't know, man. I'm happy for Bucci. I think that he's like an ESPN lifer, like Berman is, who just hit his 50th year at ESPN. Do I think Bucci's going to last that long? I don't know.
We'll see.
But happy.
Nick, it's some sad news, though, with a couple of our close friends, though, in the industry, though. But Annie Costabile, could be saying her name wrong.
Costabile.
She is on her way out of front office sports after a year of leading their women's sports coverage. And, of course, one of the fearsome foursome, Nick, who led the charge for the WNBA strike coverage in New York City.
This is odd. Like, this news was out of the blue slightly. She just announced
shocking,
that
especially after when, covering that event for as long as they did, and then on to a new opportunity.
Yeah, I don't know. She'll be fine. She'll pop up somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe like ESPN called and wanted her for like women's sports coverage.
That'd be something,
especially with that new women's sports Sunday.
Now. Yeah.
I could see her doing her own stuff. That might be tough though. I'm trying to think where else she could really pop up, to be honest. Like, there's a lot of places she really could technically pop, but I could see her now that ESPN's taking more of a liking to the women's sports coverage. That might, and they just brought over that new show from Roku, which I think we talked about. Which I don't know if you guys talked about last week or it was 2 weeks ago. We talked about it, but this ESPN seems like a logical fit. I think
so.
So.
All right, Nick. Also in other news regarding retirements, though, but of course, longtime Miami Heat PA announcer Michael Biamonte was honored at the final Heat home game of the regular season as Michael retires after numerous decades as the voice of the Miami Heat inside what was originally called America Airlines Arena, and best known for his last 2 minutes to play in the first half and second half of the game. Call
2 minutes, dos
minutos.
Man, I used to love watching those in the playoff runs when the Nets were in those classic battles with the Miami Heat. I mean, those were incredible. And I watched because I don't know if it was the Heat or somebody else posted the final. Like, he couldn't get through the moment. Like,
no, he could not.
I don't know why he left, though. Was it personal reasons? Was he...
It's interesting before we get to the last one, though, is that one of my favorites of all time is Lawrence Tanter with the Lakers. And
yes.
And it was reported, though, that Lawrence had a health scare and he's now out for the remainder of the season and probably on his way out, too, and will probably retire, though, too, as well because of his health.
Like a cancer health scare or?
That or maybe a stroke. Who knows?
Oof.
Couldn't tell you.
Oof. It's tough work.
It is.
You have to be on your game, no pun intended, every single night almost.
Yeah, I mean, 41 dates. I mean, I'm kind of in the same way with 36 AHL games and going there tonight. I mean, you got to be on it every time you're there.
And you can't mess names up, and you can't.
Which happens, though, which sadly happens.
No, I know. But I'm saying, like, you have to, like, 99% of the time. You got to be, like, on your game. Otherwise, like, the next person behind you is waiting to take it. Because I hate to say this because it's not fully true, but like voiceover people are always around the corner, or announcers are around the corner.
Always, yeah.
But it's still hard work. You have to do all the prep on your own as a PA person, making sure you have the names, the foreign names. It's hard. It's hard work.
All right, Nick, and finally for the day, though, NFL Network is set to join the ESPN Unlimited streaming tier by the beginning of the 2026 NFL season. Why?
Well, because they just bought the NFL Network.
Still, though, now it's going to be behind another paywall?
It depends on which cable or service you have. YouTube TV hasn't verified yet. But I know some of the others have verified where if you have a cable service, you get it free, depending. So it all depends on which service or platform you have. You might get it with your provider, depending.
Yeah, depending for sure.
Like we said, halfway, or actually more than halfway, to 4,000 watch hours. Every full episode you watch helps us get closer. If you missed hour one with Dianna Russini and the breaking news, go back and watch it on our channel right now, because everything archives directly now. You don't have to wait for us to do that anymore. We need every minute to reach our goal as we get closer to 4,000 watch hours. So please do your part. YouTube.com/ETB Network. Subscribe, as we are 6 subscribers away from 1,100. So help us out there. Subscribe and help us with those watch hours. Like I said, quickly, because I know you got to run out, but you want to do quick little tease, quick tease. Yeah.
Yes, we have 2 new shows coming in May. We're gonna when we think you're gonna like them.
That was it.
Yes.
Well, I could say this much: you're doing one of the shows, and Tom Albano's doing the one of the other shows. One is extending our coverage of one sport. The other one is involving the brain. That's all I can say. That's all
you get for right now.
So they both start. I can tell you the premiere dates because we know those already. So Tom's show is May 11th, and your show is May 12th. They're both live shows. Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, and yours is going to be midnight Eastern. Is that what I was hearing?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So that's it. That's all the information you get right now. Starting next week, April 20th, you will see more.
Yes.
So, and that'll lead all the way up to the premiere dates on May 11th and May 12th. So don't miss it. And make sure you're subscribed so you can find out more. But that'll do it for the show. 3 hours in the books officially, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Go back and watch our Dianna Russini coverage. Like, hate, leave messages. We'll try to get back to some of them when they come through. Maybe we'll have news on where she is next show. You never know. But our next show, April 22nd, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. We'll try to effort a guest for next week.
Yes.
We probably didn't really have room for a guest this week.
Not
anyway,
today.
with all the coverage. But that'll do it. You're going to go off and call hockey now.
Yes.
By the way, good job on the ESPN Plus yesterday. I did watch.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much. I know
and
Tom Albano also watched last night.
So, and you were solo, which is tough work. Solo.
It is, yes.
Because you have to do the play-by-play and the color. So, yeah, good job on that front. But until possibly later is what I'll say at this point. We might have some breaking news on the Live Golf officially
collapse.
Officially ending up in the grave. But like we said, April 22nd, same time, same place, all back on the staple together now. We will see you then. Thank you to the 418. It was up to 425 at the peak. Thank you to everybody who watched. Gladly appreciated. We are going to do some more bonus streams, so hold maybe tonight. So stay with us. And until then, have a good evening, afternoon, wherever you are in this country or the world. And until then, see you next time.